The weather outside might be frightful, but here at GPVWC, the racing remains ever so delightful. Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the final round, round 18 out of 18 for the 2016 GPVWC Supercup season. It has been a long road, but finally we are here at one of the greatest circuits in the world, in the opinion of many, of course, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, known better to you and I as Interlagos. And with both championships decided, Lars Rugman, the drivers, and Team Proline, the teams, we're just here to have a bit of fun, really. And here we're currently in qualifying, 9 minutes, a better part of 10 minutes to go, I should say. And we have rain. Of course we do. It's a lovely occasion for all. My name's James Kirk. On cameras, as always, is Mr. Ben Willis, and joining me for the final time this year, Mr. Sam Jones. And Sam, I was fully aware that FC didn't get any rain yesterday evening, but today the heavens have opened, and it's certainly making for a quite intriguing qualifying session.
Yeah, good evening, James. Good evening, everyone at home. And, well, I was quite taken aback by your intro there, James. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
All four top.
I'll
give you good credit for that one. That's a good way to introduce the final round of the season, and we certainly have got an interesting final round. Of course, we've got everything kind of wrapped up in terms of the championship, so what a better way to celebrate that than get the drivers out there, stick in a bit of rain, make it super duper wet, and see what the guys can pull off around here in Interlagos. We've had wet races in Interlagos at the past. I've certainly competed one as well, and yeah, yesterday was absolutely dry. It's still an absolutely fantastic track to drive in the dry, but in the wet it's a whole nother beast, and we're really going to see that today with lots of long sweeping corners, fast straights as well, and in the wet it's certainly a difficult one to try and manage, and with all these undulations as well, it's going to be super interesting to see what people can do. And maybe we might have a different guy on pole. I know we're still very early on in the qualifying session, but Borja Milan is on pole position so far, so it will be interesting to see if anyone is going to surprise us here in the wet today.
Yeah, and Borja has been someone who has really come into a bit of form late season, actually. He's been picking up some really decent results in the last few rounds. I'm just going to get the little standings up, baby. What a result for ST if he does make it onto pole position. And it's worth noting as well that in conditions where it's very much 50-50 on the driver's point of view, some are going for the wets, some are going for the dries. Borja is one of those people who has gone on the wet tyres and continues to use the wet tyres throughout this session. So we'll see whether that decision continues to benefit him as we head on. Niels Brugman currently in second position. His brother Lars Brugman, the champion, he's actually got a back of the grid penalty today, so he's going to have a bit of fun on the final round of the season. And Sven de Vries, the ever-consistent American, he currently rounds out the top three for Satellite Racing. Of course, throughout this evening, we are going to be talking about bits and bobs of speculation about the mod next year, as Lars Brugman there decides that he's not going to do with sixth position. Instead, he's going to move up onto pole position himself by 0.2. But yeah, we're going to be talking about speculation about drivers for next year, teams for next year, whether we'll see any mod changes for next year. And we'll be asking you, the audience at home, what your favourite parts of the season have been. By the way, feel free to say them in the comments. And of course, what you want to see changed for next year in general. Lots to discuss on this final broadcast, of course, but with 6 minutes and 43 seconds to go, it's currently Brugman from Milan, from Niels Brugman, De Vries, Hoekstra, Capit, Jordan, Francis looking to get some form back in P8, Fournier, who's in the Racing Team Schroten car once again, a reserve driver in P9, and Polotzek, who's been having some good rounds as well, currently rounding out the top 10. I don't see anyone in particular who is well out of position, but still, 6.5 minutes to go. Plenty can change, especially as the conditions change with them.
Yeah, certainly, and of course the track will most likely continue to speed up, although if it gets wetter that might be completely the opposite, but usually with more cars going around it helps to really dry out the track on the dry line. You can see the dry line on the pitches right now, where you really want to try and keep the car for the majority of the time, because as soon as you go into the wet it's a whole different level of grip, and certainly one to struggle with. Just seen Risto Capit has moved up into second place, so he's come to light now on his second run and picked up a decent time, only about 200ths of a second off Lars Brugman, but of course Brugman, as James said, will take a penalty once this is all over, so we'll have to try and keep everyone updated with all the standings once everyone moves around.
And actually worth noting that those times from Lars and Capit were both on a dry tyre as well, as Wupke Hoekstra there takes pole position himself on the wet compound tyre. So that is a real demonstration of just how difficult and I guess how personalized the conditions are. If you're more comfortable on the wet tyre, you're probably going to get a faster time on it. If you're more comfortable on the dry tyre, if you find the right line, and there is a dry line out there, do not get me wrong, you can certainly see it on screen as Wupke Hoekstra heads down to Interlagos. It's really a fascinating section as his teammate Dino Paolini there jumps up into P4 also on the wet tyre. And actually, Hoekstra's going to be one to look out for, isn't he? He's been involved in a season-long championship battle over in the Atlantic Series and only narrowly missed out to Borja Milan, actually, who features in this qualifying session also. I think it would certainly be a nice confidence boost for him to get one up on his championship rival from that series and look to take his first pole position of the year, of course.
Yeah, certainly an interesting one, sorry, as just clear my throat, as the way it's just kind of panning out between the two series. Certainly they've both been battling each other hard, and this will probably be, I guess they'll still have a few feelings going into this round as well. It's going to be interesting between the two of them. We're just looking to see if anyone's really improving their times.
Lars coming around the final corner.
Yep, Lars Brugman coming around the final corner and goes across the start-finish line, doesn't improve his time there, so we'll see what happens in the next lap, as I think Borja Milan has just improved once again. And look at that, he's actually set exactly the identical time as Hoekstra, so he's only got second place because he set it after Hoekstra, of course, not before him. So wow, that's incredible. I never really see times that close.
Both wet tyres as well. So maybe that is a decent indication of what tyre you should be on. 3.5 minutes left of this session to go. It's Borja Milan's really ringing it around this Interlagos circuit. And it must be said that those who are worried about the whole back of the grid penalty thing, it's the last round, how are they going to get a penalty for, the next race when there is none? Penalties, of course, that are picked up here at Brazil, the final round in 2016, will be carried over to the first round of 2017, whatever that may be. And hopefully we should have a lot announced at GPVWC Day, taking part, I believe, early December, is it not, Samuel? I believe you're going to it, aren't you? Second weekend of December. There we are. So plenty of information to look out for on gpvwc.com over the next month or so. As we have Jason Muscat there, heading up into P7. We've got Dennis Jordan up in P8 as well, although he too is a man who is set to serve a grid penalty, sending him to the back of the grid. Antonio Hraljanovic, who's coming in for Enterprise GP today. He was P9. He's gone down to P10 now because I believe, who is that jumping up? I think it was Sven de Vries, wasn't it? Or was it Niels Broekman? Sorry, going back up. Yes, it was. Back up into P2, Niels. And again, that's on the dry tyre. And I noticed Sven de Vries has also improved a little bit. He's on the dry tyre as well. So once again, the session is shifting towards the dry runners and coming round.
I think we might have lost James there, so I'll just carry on until he returns. I've seen Dennis Jordan really lights up the timing charts as well. I've got some issues on my computer as well, so it's all happening here. It's definitely some water in the works, really messing up the systems. So we'll just watch to see if Dennis Jordan, coming around the final corner now, can go and take pole. He did a very quick first sector, and he looked pretty handy in sector 2 as well. So here he goes across the line, and he does indeed take pole position. So Dennis Jordan, by 0.3 of a second with a 1:21.5, takes pole position at the moment. But I think with times like that suddenly coming out, I think the track is only getting better and better with a minute to go.
Well, was he not on the wet tyre as well, Jordan, if I recall?
Yes, he was, yes.
Yeah, so it's still ebbing and flowing. I do apologise about that connection loss. My router decided to give up the ghost, but I'm a little bit more determined than that. So, who's gone to P1, sorry?
Hins?
The Aussie on dry tyres, I'm reliably informed, takes provisional pole position. We talk about chopping and changing. I think perhaps you are very right, Sam. It is now becoming a dry tyre circuit.
Yeah, this is really now where it gets exciting, and it's all going to change from here, I feel. All the drivers out on track now, bar about 4 or 5 of them, are going to be setting what will hopefully be their fastest time for each of those drivers. See Capit doing a very fast time, and he goes pole now, so Capit takes pole by 0.2 of a second. We'll see who else can try and beat him with 5 seconds to go.
Who's coming around the final corner then? Lars Brugman. Let's see, he's going to have a back of the grid penalty to deal with, but is he going to get one over his main championship rival for the final time this year in qualifying? He comes round the final couple of corners now. I think I've disconnected again, unfortunately, so Sam will have to tell you. Oh, here we go. Right. I am back, don't worry. No, I'm not. Never mind.
Yeah, so Brugman didn't take pole there, just to clear the confusion. And Hoekstra also crossed the line and didn't improve either, I don't believe. So he remains in 5th place at the moment. Capit and Hins is actually pitting, so he's over now. De Vries is still on a lap though, and he's coming around the middle, twisty tight sector of the track, and let's have a look. He hasn't had the best of first sectors, but of course there's still a good portion of the lap to try and improve from there, and he's on the dry tyres as well, so it's certainly possible for De Vries. I think Polotzek is the spun on the start line while all that's going on, so he won't be improving his time, and Jason Muscat's also coming around the final corner, so I think only Muscat and De Vries can improve on their times now. So De Vries is going to come across the line first, and he goes 5th fastest, 7 tenths off the leader, and Muscat actually pits in, so he's aborted his lap, and that means Risto Capit has taken pole position here today with a 1:20.7. That's a full half a second faster than anyone else around here, and this is such a short track, and there's not many corners to it, so that is an impressive time by Risto Capit, and I'm sure he was on the right tyres at just the right time on a drying track, but certainly that is no mean feat, and Capit should be very pleased with that pole position, and again he's showing the speed and pace that he's had ever since coming back from his free race absence.
Yeah, his 5th pole position of the season, Risto Capit, and absolutely right. Good setup, right track conditions, right tyre. You're going to be up there. Lars Brugman does take P2, but he's going to be sent to the back of the grid, which means Thomas Hins for Fox Racing will start on the front row alongside Risto Capit. That is an outstanding effort. It's almost like a Hulkenberg feel to that lap for Thomas Hins. Incredible stuff, and it's sure to put a smile on his face, that's for sure. So Borja Milan and Sven de Vries will line up on the second row behind them, and due to a back of the grid penalty for Dennis Jordan, it means the third row will consist of Wupke Hoekstra and David Francis. Let's see if anybody else did well. Mike Quint is going to be starting inside the top 10, a reserve driver here. He's going to be pretty happy with that. I think Dino Paulinho and Jason Muscat are going to be pretty disappointed, both qualifying initially outside of the top 10. They're going to be close to it, though, with the back of the grids to come. Edgar Ruiz as well might be a little bit disappointed with 15th. Scott Beresford outside of the top 15 again. And David Junt seemingly not qualifying. So, yeah, the one real surprise there, Thomas Hins. I'm really hoping for rain in this first race, though, Sam. What an extra spice it has given us this evening.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for race for the rest of the evening. Maybe a bit of rain, drying track, or dry track to rain. Who knows? We could easily spice it up for race 2 as well. That would be super interesting. But certainly Thomas Hins was the outstanding performance for me in that qualifying session. And that's actually quite critical as well, because Fox Racing haven't scored since Japan. And they're only about 18 points ahead of ST Racing in the championship for 12th or 13th down in the lower half of the field. So it's pretty important for Fox to try and get as many points as they can today, just to make sure that they don't lose out on the final day of the season to ST Racing. That would be a huge disappointment for them. And Hins has certainly turned up here today and done a fantastic job so far. I just hope he can carry it on.
Yeah, he's suffered with a lot of bad first lap luck this season, Tom, and I can fully sympathize with him as well. I have been there in one of those seasons where it just does not happen for you on the first lap. So I think everyone's fingers are crossed for you, Hinsey. Everyone's fingers are crossed. But let us have a little bit of a debate here, Sam. So I'm going to just open my premium spiced plum Record League cider. Please come and sponsor our league, Record League. We do love you very much. We're going to have a little talk about next year and the teams, because there has been a lot of rumours circulating, Sam, most importantly surrounding our top two teams for this year, Street Fighter and Team Proline. Team Proline, you'd think that their main destination next year would be Super League. We've heard from Maurice Rakan last time out in Mexico. Or I think it was a couple of weeks before that, actually, but doesn't seem too confident about returning. We're hearing murmurs that perhaps Street Fighter isn't exactly looking to stick around either, especially with Risto Capit looking a prime candidate to move up into the Vodball main seat for next year. And so that would leave open a couple of positions. We could see a couple of teams dropping down. We could see a couple of teams moving out. And I've been hearing some far-fetched rumors about even teams being taken over by other entries, much like we saw with Evolution and Smile this year. So what are we thinking? Do we see any teams from Formula Challenge moving up next year and causing a threat? Do we see any teams this year who might have something to say in next year's championship?
I think it's certainly going to be an interesting one, and I think there's going to be a lot of movement next year, because already we're two teams down in Supercup effectively after Ghost Sport and Ice Cold have kind of disappeared off the radar at the end of this season. So I personally would be surprised to see them back next year or being allowed to run in Supercup, but who knows? I'm not the guy decided. I'm only just thinking about things here, and that's really what makes it interesting as well with Super League, which also has a couple of teams missing as well. So automatically teams are probably going to have to move up to Super League. Well, there's going to be a bit of a scrap for who wants to go up, really, and I think the same for Super Cup as well. So I think we'll see some teams go up from Formula Challenge, that's for sure. You know, teams like Madcape and Deltec, who did well this season in Formula Challenge. I can't see any reason why they shouldn't be allowed to move up. And I know that there's definitely been some teams further down in Formula Challenge as well that have applied to move up. So it's going to be a bit of a free-for-all, and I hate to be the guy or guys who has to pick who to move up and who to keep in their position. It's not an easy one to make, and it really is, I guess, based on, is the team going to be there for the season? Are they going to bother to field two drivers? And are they really that bothered about the league, or are they just kind of doing it for a bit of fun and maybe a bit of glory just in the short term? It's always more important to have a long-term stable team than a short-term team that maybe does something good one season and disappears the next. So in terms of what's going to happen, James, I'm not the best person to ask. It's hard to say. I probably kind of waffled on a bit here, but all I can say, it's going to be exciting winter. It really is, and I can't wait to kind of see all these rumours materialise or not so.
Oh no, I'm in exactly the same boat, and I'm actually making as bold as a prediction that we are potentially going to see the first ever direct Formula Challenge to Super League team transfer.
I heard about that as well. Yes.
I know that it's a bold prediction. But I keep an eye on the spots potentially opening up in Super League, and I'm always interested to hear the hopes and admirations of both Super Cup and Formula Challenge teams, to be fair, as well as teams potentially looking at coming from outside the league. And actually, if you are interested in general audience on my thoughts on the Super Cup campaign as a whole and where we might look to go for 2017, then hopefully I'm going to be able to publish an article in about the next week or so. So keep an eye on GPVWC.com for James Kirk's thoughts. We're going to be revisiting my predictions from the start of the year as well, which I think I've done pretty well this year once again. Perhaps not as good as last year, but either way, we digress. Warm-up is well and truly over. Exciting race ahead. And honestly, Sam, I'm actually not going to ask you a single thing about who we're predicting to win the race until we see what weather conditions we have, because I think that's going to have a massive impact on the race.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I'll hold judgment until then, and to be honest with you, I couldn't give you a straight answer right now. It's kind of all up in the air here, and it's the end of the season. We can certainly have some interesting different winners maybe. I know in Formula Challenge yesterday we had a different winner in the final race, so that was always a nice little thing just to end the season on, to someone else picking up a win for the first time, and who knows, that could be on the cards again today, and well, that's really worth sticking around for, and I'm actually super excited for this.
As if the rest of the season hasn't been exciting enough. See, this is why you always need to stick around until the end of the season as well. We've got no championships to play for here, but we have the weather on our side. Whatever forces are up there have got our backs, as we're just waiting for our race director, Mr. Chris Williamson, to tab us over. We might be waiting for someone, to be fair, so we'll just stall for a little bit longer. Guys in the YouTube chat, hello. Yes, we do see you sometimes, we promise. I'd just like to know what your sometimes, yeah. We'd like to know what your favourite moments from the season were, if you had any at all. And we'd like to know also what you would like to see in Supercup next year. It could be who you'd like to see become champion next year. It could be seeing a team come back. It could be a rule change. It could be a change to the cars. Let us know, and I will be sure to come back and revisit some of those answers later in the program, if at all. I will try my best. I can't guarantee anything, but I will try my best, as I always do. As we're still waiting. Chris is keeping us on tenterhooks here. Apparently the rain's picked up as well. Thank you to Mr. Ben Willis for weather watching. I was looking at the forecast actually today, and I was like, "Ooh, thunderstorms! That looks good." But I don't know how long they're going to be lasting. Like, it could be here for race 1, and then it completely dissipates for race 2 when we have the reverse grid of a random number between 6 and 10 as well, Sam. So it could mean that some guys have planned for a dry setup, and they're going to be excelling in that race, whereas I'm sure a lot of the guys will have seen the rain coming for today and probably planned for that in advance.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think everyone really always kind of prepares for a dry setup race, and then you really see those who've done their homework when it comes to the wet conditions, when they stick the wet setups on and just look completely calm and stable, while others are just skating all over the place. And yeah, that could be interesting actually if we have a dry final race of the season. Hopefully everyone keeps their cool. It's very easy to go into party mode early on and think, it doesn't matter about penalties, it's the end of the season, who cares if I get back of the grid for the next round. But the penalties do carry over as well, so people should keep that in mind. It was pretty wild in Formula Challenge yesterday in the final race. It was certainly fun to watch whilst driving around, but I'm sure the Supercup guys are going to be more measured at least, and yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting couple of races.
It was wild in the International Touring Cup finale as well. Of course, we've already raced in Brazil before Formula Challenge and Open Series with the touring cars, and that produced some absolutely great racing. And it is just one of those tracks, isn't it, where it always provides overtaking and it always provides excitement in some form. I mean, just going back to Formula 1 2012, that final race of the season, where it was directly Vettel versus Alonso, easily one of the best races I've ever seen in my life, whether it be sim racing or real racing.
Yeah, that's a super exciting race, and whether you wanted Vettel to win or not, it was still incredible to see. Incredible that he didn't go out in the fourth corner. I'm losing count of corners here, but yeah, that was so exciting. And of course, the Hamilton 2008 race as well. That was another one that again, people either love it or hate it depending on whether they're a Hamilton fan. And what else? There's been more, hasn't there? I remember when it used to be at Suzuka, there used to be very exciting races at the end of the season. It's always seems to be a way of producing the goods even when the championship has been decided.
Indeed, and I once again harken back to 2010, where we had Hulkenberg on pole position. We've got some people in mightily high positions, higher than they usually would be, to consider as well. So there is certainly going to be an exciting 41 laps ahead of us. It's a big one, this first race. And I hope that you guys are going to be along to watch all of it, as well as the race after that. So, for the 5th time this season, Risto Capit took pole position It's not the 5th time that he has started on pole position in the first race, however, after taking a couple of penalties in a couple of races. Nevertheless, he is there here today, and joining him on the front row for Fox Racing, I believe. It's their highest grid position ever, personally. I think maybe Maurice Bracan might have gone after that, but
one of the
Thomas Hinn starts P2 as one of the streets, so that'd be Francic then. Apparently Francic having an off. It looks like he's back on though. Good to see. Borja Milan for ST Racing, another mightily high position for a low team as Hraljanovic leaves, so his internet gets him again. A real shame there. So Borja Milan 3rd anyway, and Sven de Vries will start P4 for Satellite Racing, with Wopke Hoekstra P5 for Mazurek. David Francic will start P6 for Street Fighter, with Niels Brugman starting P7 for Team Proline. Tobias Polocek will be up in P8 for Evolution, with Dino Paolini starting P9 for Mazurek. And Jason Muscat will round out the top 10 for Multiforce. We then have Edgar Ruiz, P11, the first of the TGs, with Scott Beresford, P12 in Enterprise, the Lone Enterprise GP now. Terence Grech in the Go Sport. They rise from the dead. He starts P13, with Mark Fuller starting inside the points today, Fuller in P14. Great job from him. Masai Mlinik, once again in at TG, will start P15, with David Junt of Satellite in P16. Jeffrey Fournier is going to start from the pit lane. Interestingly, he was due to start P17. And then we have Lars Brugman, P18 for Team Proline. Dennis Jordan, P19 for Evolution. Mike Quint, P20 for Multiforce. And Argenis Riera rounding out the grid in P21 for Racing Team Stroan. So a real shame there for Hraljanovic again. That's the 2nd time in Supercup out of 3 races where he is disconnected on the formation lap. So really, really unlucky, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think he disconnected in Formula Challenge yesterday as well, so certainly some major issues there to try and get over in the winter, but I'm going to give my driver pick of the day now for who I think is going to win the race, and I'm going to be super boring. I'm going to go for Risto Capit. He's been so strong at the end of the season here, and he's starting from pole. I am boring.
You know what? I'm going to go for Sven de Vries, just to make it a little interesting. We look up to the lights. We have 5 lights now, and for the first time here at Interlagos, we are off and away, and it is a decent start there from Risto Capit. He is in the lead. Oh, behind, there's the Street Fighter off again, and he's mixed. Oh, huge massive crash behind. Massive crash behind on the front straight, but Risto Capit leads through turn 1, and Thomas Hintz has gotten off the line well himself. Further contact! Sven de Vries and Thomas Hintz off at the first corner. He doesn't escape the madness. And so Milan is now P2 with Hoekstra P3, Tobias Polocek from P9 up to P4. Scott Beresford from outside the top 10 up into P5. An extraordinary effort. And Lars Brugman, he started P18. He's up to P6 already. Oh my god, and he's actually up to P5 now after Scott Beresford got a real tank slapper there. Through to Cedar Delago. Terence Grech up to P7. Dennis Jordan's up to P9. Riera up to P10. It's madness at the back there as people are all trying to figure out what on earth has just happened and why on earth my car is in a worse condition than I started with it 10 seconds ago. Incredible stuff. Either way, Capit still leads, and he leads by 2 seconds now from Borja Milan as well. Is that someone else? Oh, Grech's off as well. The rain. It's the rain. I don't even think it is raining. It's just incredibly wet out there. It is raining, according to Ben, sorry. Treacherous conditions out here, almost monsoon-like, and coming round Young Cow then for the first time after what must be one of the most manic opening Super Cup laps in history that I can remember. Risto Cav is going to come around the final corner to lead lap 1 here. But behind, it is all change. Milan second. He's followed by Hoekstra. Lars Brugman up from 18th into 4th. Beresford, Junt, Jordan, Polocek, Riera, and Francic, who was involved on the start line accident. He's in the top 10 still. In fact, he's into 9th already, getting past Riera into turn 1.
An absolutely incredible start. That has got to be the worst start I've ever seen. Super Cup for quite a while. People pitting now, Sven de Vries and Jason Muscat going in. It all really triggered when Niels Brugman lost it. Oh, and that's someone else that's gone round. Who's that? Junt's gone round, coming out of turn 3, and he's recovered it. But yeah, Niels Brugman just lost it going through the gears on the start line. And it's so easy to do in these conditions. And he just spun round, hit Francic, who's now up into 8th place. And then it all kind of triggered off from there, and everyone went into the back of each other. But amazingly, everyone is still in the race. I know there's a few guys in the pits, but no one's retired yet.
We have we do have an STP2. Very good shouts. Oh, is that Beresford off? Yes, it is, and he's fallen down the order. He did not look comfortable. I will say that much, and he rejoins all the way down in P13, just battling off Niels Brugman now. But you know what? Look at Borja Milan. Risto Capit is struggling massively, and whereas the gap at the end of lap 1 was 2 seconds, Borja Milan has now halved that. He is flying in these conditions, and you can't even say it's because Capit received damage, because he was completely ahead of everything.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. And Lars Brugman's just taken 3rd place as well from Hoekstra. So he's going to be catching up with these two as well, as Beresford has actually retired there. So I don't know what happened there. Oh, and Polotzek has gone into the wall coming out the final corner, and he's going to be going into the pits now, it looks like. Oh no, he's carried on.
Good to see. Let's look at this lead fight, shall we? Borja Milan versus Risto Capit. The gap now down to 9/10 of a second. I do not think that Street Fighter is comfortable at all. And looks like Beresford just rage quit there, which is a shame to see. Lars Brugman up to 3rd from the back of the grid. I mean, this guy's got as much chance of winning the race as anyone else now. Wupke Hoekstra holding touch with his compatriot in P4, and then it's a long way back, a full 9 seconds back to Dennis Jordan in 5th, who, remember, also started at the back of the grid. So crazy stuff from everyone involved at the moment. And to be honest, it's a surprise that the only one retirement was either a technical failure or a rage quit.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Beresford was certainly struggling, and I think he just lost it. There's Francic has gone super deep. Just watching there through the middle part of the track, he nearly went off track there. But yeah, it's incredible that everyone's still on. But the times are interesting as well. They're all over the place. I know we've only just started, but some guys are really struggling in these conditions. It's going to be a long afternoon for them, because I don't see the weather clearing up anytime soon.
Hilarious scenes. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, let's go back to this battle for P6, shall we? David Francic just ahead of Argenis Riera, who started plumb last. He's now up into P7 for Racing Team Stroton, and boy oh boy are they going to need the points, with ST currently having a car in 2nd. Masai Mlinik having another good outing, the pole up in P8 with Paulini P9. He's had a disappointing start. David Junt, of course, who's been off the road twice already. He's up into P10. Niels Brugman 11th with Quint 12th. Ruit 13th. Polotzek, who's been into the wall a couple of times as well, 14th. Fuller in 15th as P6. Oh, yeah! It looks like Francic got the center S horribly wrong. He's just managed to stay ahead of Riera, but the Venezuelan keeping a big tabs on the Croatian, who's really been struggling for form in the second half of the season, and he's all over the back of him.
Gretsch has gone round as well, down in 18th place, and he's really struggling in these conditions as well for Ghost Sport, so he just needs to try and get used to these conditions right now. But look at that by Masai Milinik there. He was really lighting it up coming out of turn 4, and Francic has gone off.
He's gone well off. He's gone deep. He's not hit the wall there on the exit of Laranjina, but he is back on in P9, which means that Riera from last is now into P6. Mlinik and Paulini close in behind him. Francic, he's not safe either. Who's off round, sorry?
Riera.
Oh, yep, I see Riera. Yep. It's manic. It's absolutely manic. And who's up front? Lars Brugman's been round. Lars Brugman's been round as well at the top. And Capit's round as well. Oh my goodness me. He's in the wall. Borja Milan leads the race from Wupke Hoekstra in P2. What is going on? What is going on at this week? Here goes Lars Brugman around the outside. And so Lars Brugman now into P3. Incredible stuff.
Wow,
what is this race?
I have no idea. It must be so wet out there. I can't see a dry line, and everyone is absolutely struggling right now. It is really tippy-toe conditions. Drivers are just having to make the best of what they've got, and right now Milan is showing that he's got the skills in these wet conditions. He looks so calm and composed, and he's got a 3.4 second lead. But of course, it's so easy to get caught out right now. And just look at this battle for 6th as well. It's really heating up. I've just seen Francic nearly go off the track again.
And here goes Paulini then down the inside of the pole. Not able to do anything just there. And look at Niels Brugman, quite eager to get involved in this little battle as well. It's a Northern Europe battle royale here. David Francic involved. He's representing the middle of Europe alongside David Junt there in 10th with Switzerland. And then it's over to, of course, the Americas with Argenis Riera 11th and Mike Quint, another Dutchman there in P12. Although Mike Quint goes off as well off the top of the hill. Oh my word, a real test of the character of a lot of these drivers as well as the driving prowess. I'm confident in saying, Sam, that these are the most difficult conditions I have seen drivers dealing with. And I'm not sure whether it's the car and track combo. I'm not sure whether it's the wettest race we've ever seen in Supercup history. But whatever is going on, there are a lot of people struggling out there. The only people who don't seem to be struggling are Milan and Hoekstra up there in the top 2 positions.
Yeah, and Lars Brugman has just set a very quick lap as well. He's done a 1:32. That's a full 2 seconds faster than Milan up front. But of course, he's trying to make up for the early mistake he made. I've just seen a car off the track there. Terence Grench, I think it was, and he's out of the race now. Already seeing drivers get lapped as well. There's a huge difference in terms of driver speed, as I think Polotsek has also gone off in 16th. Everywhere you look, there's a car or a driver struggling right now, and yeah, I've never seen conditions like this. We had some hard conditions earlier in the year, but nothing this heavy.
Niels Brugman in P8 here. Apparently visibility is really bad as well. Niels Brugman on Paolini, not going to do anything. What about Riera on Junt? The two go side by side into Decida Delago, and Riera comes out on top on that one. I think Riera is another one of the drivers looking pretty good actually before that spin in Sector 2. He is back up into the top 10 for Racing Team Schroten, and now Junt has Mike Quint all over the back of him in the Satellite versus Multiforce battle. Sven de Vries, by the way, he's back up into the points. He's back up into P14, so persistence really doing him some justice. As Jeffrey Fournier's round again at the top of the Retro Pasta as well, so people are just... Listen, I love rain, but I would not want to be in the shoes of these drivers at the moment. It looks like hell on earth out there.
Yeah, I think it's survival right now. I think it's a case of just keeping the car on the track and not going off, as so many of these drivers have. There's hardly anyone... Something happened?
Yeah, so Mlinick just spun up the tyres out of young Cow, and that means that Paolini, Brugman, and Francic have both gotten back. As here goes Brugman now on the inside of Dino Paolini, and Niels Brugman is through into the Senna S, up into P6, as Tobias Polotzek becomes our 3rd retirement of the day. Yeah,
it was a heavy hit for him. He just lost it coming out of turn 4, got on the AstroTurf, and it speared into the wall heavily. So it's a hard hit for Polotzek, and no wonder he's had to retire the car. That was certainly probably not going to run much longer after that. So another casualty, but that just means more potential points for some of the lower down drivers as well. So it's definitely worth sticking around and trying to just get through this phase of the race.
I spoke too soon about Riera. He's been off again, allowing Mike Quint to head up into the top 10. David Junt up to P11. As Sven de Vries is out. Now, was that a disconnection, I wonder? Let's have a little look. Yes, it was. Sven de Vries out of the race with a disconnection, and Jason Muscat into the pits without a front wing either. So this race has had it all. It has had it all, but... Oh, God, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I just think Sven de Vries actually lost it in the second part of the Senna S and sped into the outside wall. Yeah, he's lost his front wing and everything, so just called it a day after that.
Madness. Absolutely. This isn't madness, this is Supercup, and Borja Milan is absolutely loving it at the moment.
Oh, Niels
Brugman. It's Niels Brugman's round, and is he beached on the curb, I wonder? He's being a very, very good rejoinee there, allowing everyone to pass. And a very nice rejoin there from the Dutchman, as even Riera gets past him. That was down at Young Cow. And I think Ruiz is going to get him as well. Yeah, so Brugman down to 3rd. Incredible scenes. So what's it? Paolini's back up into 6th. Francic 7th. Mlinick 8th. Quint 9th. And now Junt once again rounding out the top 10. Only 17 runners and riders left. 2 more retirements. And if you finish the race within 90%, you're going to be there. Is Riera off again? Yes, he is. Down to P12 now, so Ruiz is back up into P11. Oh, it's in Linux, sorry. Oh, yeah, he's had a bit of a problem as well, hasn't he? Niels Brugman's out. What happened to Brugman? Was this a disconnection, I wonder?
No, he just stopped.
He just stopped. He's given up. As Quint's off. Quinn, oh my goodness me. Quinn's off and he's lost a front wing, so that's 2 multi-force front wings in the space of 3 laps, which have just said bye to their car. They're off on holiday down to Argentina or something. What is going on? This race. It's mad. It's mad. It's too wet. That's what Ben says.
If this was Formula One, we'd all be sat there crying right now because there's no racing on track, that's for sure. As Thomas Hinds goes off as well, so he's dropped back out of the points. He'll soon get back into it, though, as he catches up with where Niels Brugman retired, and he'll be in effectively 15th place. So absolutely crazy, really crazy stuff. And the guys are actually pretty spread out for the most part now. I think they're just struggling for grip so much they can't even race each other. It's that difficult.
It is very much what you said earlier, survival of the fittest. I think people are more interested in keeping all 4 wheels on the road than actually battling with each other. As Sven de Vries has rejoined the race, apparently. I don't think he's going to be... Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to... Yeah, it says DNF, though. And since he's rejoined, I don't think he's going to be able to continue again. So Mike Quint then into the pits. As Thomas Hinds is back into the points, it should be said. So... After all of that, he's going to be scoring points. So, you know what, Sam? This has the hallmarks of one of those races where we're going to have less than 15 points finishes. We're on lap 9 of 41. 9 of 41, and we've lost 5 drivers.
Fournier's in as well. He's got no wings at all. He's a real Formula Ford, old-school Formula Ford driver right now.
Bringing back the Jenkinism.
Absolutely. You can't say that anymore, though, can you? They've stuck wings on them and they made the racing boring, so...
Unfortunately, we can't be sticking any houses under these drivers. They're trying to keep the gap between the road and their underfloor as small as they possibly can. One thing I would like to point out, though, which is certainly a developing story in this absolutely manic Supercup Brazilian Grand Prix race 1 so far, is that Lars Brugman is actually catching on the leaders now. He is 7.6 seconds off Borja Milan, and he's been catching the front 2 of the aforementioned Milan and Hoekstra over the last 5 laps or so. So do not count Lars Brugman out of this race, as Mlinik's been off once again, and Ruiz apparently went off in sympathy. So it's I'm trying to think of a witty TG pun, but I'm not going to try and risk it either way. Riera coming around the final corner now. He's going to pick up a free position as Mlinik is in... Oh, not Mlinik, sorry. Ruiz is into the pits, so Riera back up into the top 10.
Yep, it's shaking around all the time. That's really going to be shaking around in the Constructors and Drivers' Championships too. And that's a big point as well, because Milan, at the moment, I don't want to jinx him, but that would be a huge haul of points for ST Racing, wouldn't it, if they could pick up a win today? Very long way to go yet, though. And the times are coming down a bit now. They are getting quicker, so maybe it's drying out a little bit.
You know, I was thinking, was Ruiz going to be a really sneaky squirrel and go onto the dry tyres? He is not. He's gone for a completely fresh set of wet. Ludicrous, says Ben Willis, and I would agree with you. It would be ludicrous, but it would be sometimes you do have to roll the dice. Fournier's been off again, and Jason Muscat's been off in sympathy, so Fournier will retake that position. Jason Muscat decides, I don't need the floor of my car anymore, scrapes it along the inside of the track. He's back on the road in P14.
We should really call the exit of Juncal, basically, the little bit of a kink of a corner after that. We should call it the corner of sympathy, shouldn't we? That seems to be where everyone's going off with each other.
I think it's more like Juncal. I mean, it's treacherous out there. Absolutely mad. But look at Lars Brugman, 6.7 seconds. Oh, and 4-wheel drifting it around the Ferradura. Oh, my word. If he's driving with no fear, the reigning champion Lars Brugman, and why not? He can win this race if he really wants to. It's perfectly within his grasp. 30 laps left to go.
Yeah, he's been the quickest guy, hasn't he? He's had a spin as well, which lost him a good 10 seconds. So right now he would be in a net lead if the cars were kind of ghosted and didn't have to overtake each other. So that just kind of shows the pace that he's had as he's touched the grass on the inside there. That's a very weird line coming out of Juncal that time around. But it hasn't cost him too much time, but it certainly would have woken him up if he's got into a little bit of a trance right now.
I mean, you can actually see it's more Whoopie Hoekstra starting to lose time to Borja Milan because that's extended out to 5.4 seconds at the end of lap 11. So Borja Milan, the Spaniard, possibly noticing the threat of Brugman behind, starting to put the foot down. I've heard groans from you, Sam. What on earth is happening further on?
Mark Fuller at the back, he's just lost it going into turn 8, so he managed to recover it though, which was important because he's one place away from points, and it'll be another big day for him as Milan's been off.
Curse of the commentator or what? Yep, he got it. He went down on Interlagos, got caught on the curb, and as soon as you know it, Whoopie Hoekstra leads this race.
Yeah, it's really close up the top 3. I think he might have just been distracted by Muscat, who had gone wide at the same corner just before him. So he's just kind of lost it there, lost a bit of concentration. And now he's going to have to try and recuperate and get back on it again, because he had the pace beforehand. I know he wasn't quite as quick as Lars Brugman, but he had the pace over Hoekstra, that was for sure. And now he's going to have to follow another car once again and feel the spray and the lack of downforce. And as Brugman goes a little bit wide out of Young Cow as well, so even he is still struggling.
It is our 2 Atlantic Series protagonists in the first 2 positions. Goes to show what confidence can do, as well as a bit of luck.
It's a champion and 2 potential champions, isn't it? That battling it out.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, you do know that's finished, Sam.
Yeah, I do.
But Borja Milan is the Atlantic Series champion.
Yeah,
we'll just make that absolutely clear. But you are also absolutely right in that they are very close to each other. 4 seconds now separating the top 3. Keep with us. Risto Capin currently in P4. Bit of a world of his own. 2 seconds ahead of Dennis Jordan. As we've got a battle going on for P7 now. David Francic. Well, if there was a battle, then it's quickly disappeared. I think it is Francic versus Jantis, the battle of the Davids. But not much going on there for the moment. Riera 9th, Mlinic 10th, Ruiz 11th with Quint 12th, Fournier 13th, Muscat 14th, and Thomas Hinz rounding out the final point scorers. Mark Fuller only needs one more person to retire ahead of him to make only his 4th point score of the year.
Yeah, he'll certainly be hearts are fluttering a little bit right now, because he knows he's in for a chance of a good result here today, and so is Borja Milan still. Oh my goodness, he's gone off. What did I just say? I just ruined it for him, didn't I? Because he's gone off again at the penultimate corner, and he's having to just kind of track across the grass, get back on, and that's cost him a huge bunch of time, and he's all the way down in 3rd, and probably a good 7 or 8 seconds off the lead now.
But knowing the course of this race, there's still every chance that he'll catch up to them through a mistake from the 2 guys ahead.
Yeah.
As who's got the fastest lap, sorry? Brugman with the fastest lap. Lars. Well, Lars is the only Brugman in the race, remember, with Niels Brugman retiring on earlier. So, man, this race. I mean, it's hard to make a commentator speechless. I'm lost for words. I honestly think that the audience would have as much sense making out what is happening in this race than us at the moment. They don't need the words. They just need to look and try and make head of it themselves. I'm
sure they probably got more sense about what's going on than I do right now. That's certainly going to be the case. But I'm just watching all these guys. They're still tippy-toeing around. Everyone looks so slow going through the corners. It really is a huge struggle out there, and it's patience and just consistency right now that's the most critical thing for all these drivers.
So that little excursion from Borja Milan cost him approximately 6 to 7 seconds or so. He's now 9.2 off our new leader, Whoopie Hoekstra, as Fuller is off at Young Cow, and he's right in the middle of the road. Thankfully, he's back on nice and safely in time to allow his teammate Borja Milan through safely. Oh my goodness, this race though. Is there any other close battles going on? Oh, Francic has been off. Francic has been off. Look at this down in P9, and that is a seriously crabbing car, Sam.
Oh, he's hit the wall hard. Yeah, he's come out of turn 3, and it's just gone loose on him, and he's gone to the inside wall and hit it so hard where the wall ends and the track begins. And oh my goodness, I can't believe he hasn't lost the front wing, but he's going to be struggling now for the rest of the race.
He needs to pit because that car is seriously snapping on him now.
it could be a potential DNF there if he can't fix it as well. So that is a huge blow for Frančić, who'd done so well to come back from that start line crash.
He's holding up Mlinic now. I mean, let's be fair, Frančić in this position is still allowed to fight for that position, but it's kind of fruitless at this point as, oh! Mlinic, well, he managed to make it... He managed to make it round Pico de Pato eventually, but I don't think that was the line that he was hoping to take. Frančić perhaps with a little bit of dangerous driving, dare I say it? I'm not too sure. But our DC man is saying a bit unsurely there. He's got to move to the inside, though. Frančić is a danger to everyone on track. He's got to pit in, surely. Mlinic now finally overtakes him. Is he going to make it? Yeah, I think he's just struggling to get in, isn't he? He might have had a second thought about it, but that car needs to pit. And so Frančić falls outside of the top 10. Ruiz takes his place. As Brugman was in P2 anyway. Yeah, but cameraman does draw our attention to the fact that he's now only 1.5 seconds off leader Hoekstra. He is flying.
He certainly is, and let's have a look. He's not set another fastest lap, but he's consistently in the 129s, where Hoekstra is struggling a little bit to keep the times much close together. He keeps falling into the 30s and even the 31s as well. It's certainly a hard one to drive this car consistently in these conditions right now, and Brugman's kind of showing what kind of skills he has when it comes to consistency, and that's helping him catch. And Hoekstra's gone off, but oh no, he's gone wide as well. Is he going to get back on the track? Just about, but he's lost a lot of time.
And now it's the battle of the Dutchmans, and apparently Hoekstra was trying to avoid the traffic of who was that? Was that Mlinic up ahead? It was indeed. So Wupke Hoekstra, they're losing a chunk of time there and lighting it up out to Pico de Pato as well. And he's let Lars Brugman through, it seems. There was no attempts to defend there from Wupke Hoekstra, and Lars Brugman from the bottom 5 positions starting this race now leads on lap 16 of 41.
Yep, so he got up to P6 pretty quickly, but it took him a little bit longer to get the final 5 positions, but he's finally done it, and Lars Brugman is looking quite imperious right now. He's already got a 1.1 second lead over Hoekstra in the final couple of corners of that lap there, so really impressive stuff. Of course, these guys are going to have to be pitting soon as well, only about 5 laps away from pit stops, and that'll be interesting because it's still... Oh, someone's off in the straight, are they?
Oh, that's a rear wing, that's a multi-force, and that is Mike Quint without a rear wing. And that's going to put serious pain to it. Look at that. You could not have lost your rear wing in a worse place, could you? He's got to make it round the entirety of the circuit. Oh, that looks undrivable. I would not like to be Mike Quint right now, but bless him, he's going to try. He's going to keep going, and hopefully it does pay him dividends.
It looked undrivable before he even lost his rear wing. He was completely loose. Oh, there's a car in the middle of the track.
That's the Evolution, so that's Jordan. Jordan in P5. And is that Capit as well off? No, it's...
Oh.
No, it's not Slow Capit. It must be Frančić. No? Okay, never mind. So Jordan back on into P6, is he? Yeah, so Paolini, the only driver to re-overtake him. I think it was Fuller who was off, not one of the Street Fighters, because both of them look okay to me. Yeah, Capit and Frančić are going around all right in P4 and P11, but my goodness me, Dennis Jordan there. Lucky as Quint's round again in P30. He's only made it to Ferradura. I don't even think after his pit stop he's going to make it. Oh my word, here comes Fuller. Oh my goodness. Fuller's, just to make it clear, Fuller is unlapping himself here. And he was like, what am I supposed to do?
Jordan's round again nearly.
As Jordan's round again. This time it's, where is it? It's Pinarino.
Capit's in.
And once again, Mark Fuller completely unsure what to do as Capit comes into the pits. He's calling it onto a fresh set of new wets, surely. Yep.
I tell you what though, Jordan's tyres have completely gone. He looks like he's got no confidence in his car whatsoever. And I think that's why he lost it in the first place.
Incredible. Incredible. I have never seen a race like this. In my 4 years of commentating on GPVWC, I have never seen a race like this. And about Jordan losing tyres, yep, he's going around for another lap. So, He clearly thinks there's life in them yet. Riera 7th, Yun 8th, Linick 9th with Ruiz 10th as Capit exits. And he is going to come out in P5. So Paulini overtakes him for P4. But an early pit stop for Capit. We don't reckon he's going to make it to the end. Is this the right decision?
Probably not, but you never know if it dries up. I mean, at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to dry for all, does it? But if it does, then Capit might be in for something, because he'll have quick tyres now, and then he'll switch over to the dries, and maybe he will be okay, because everyone will have to make 2 stops at least. It does look to me like the sun has come out, but it's still raining, so I don't know if that's going to make any difference.
Good news, guys. Mike Quint made it back. He's okay. We will see whether he remains in P15, however. He's now 2 laps behind, as is Mark Fuller, who is just in Sector 2 now, and holding up Jeffrey Fournier, unfortunately, as well. So we will see how that battle for the... Actually, oh, wow, that was a really quick rear wing stop. So Mike Quint will indeed come back out in the final point-paying position. Good on him. His persistence has paid off somewhat. But what is the next closest battle? Yep, he has. As Ruiz's off. Oh, and here comes Ruiz. Oh, he was off with someone else. Oh my goodness! Did the 2 teammates collide? Oh no!
Oh,
Nightmare Mlinick without his front wing. What about?
Oh my God!
They both went off at the same corner and both lost their front wings.
They went off individually as well. It wasn't like they hit each other before they went off.
But when they...
Yeah.
Terence Grech. I mean, he's not racing anymore because he retired early in the race. He must be holding his head in his hands. Incredible stuff.
This is...
Yeah, Risto Capit, isn't it? P5.
Yes, he is after his pit stop, of course. So he's actually catching Paulini now. So this is a battle for position.
And he's got his teammate there trying to help him out ahead. Although, oh, look at that. He's got a good drive out of turn 8 there. He's going to try all the way around the outside. Not going to work, though. Remember, Paulini has not stopped. But clearly, Capit the faster. And so that is why he's so eager to get past. But, self-implosion from TG Racing. They're in a decent position as well.
It's true, yeah, truly incredible stuff. And some of these guys at the back are actually under a real risk here, because if any of them goes 5 laps down, they won't get points, will they? Because they'll be under the 90% rule.
Time? Are we gonna... Can someone get on to Chris about the time rule, please? I'm going to quickly check here what the cutoff is. So let's see, it's 41 times 0.9, because it's, of course, 90. So lap 37 is the cutoff, as Mlinick and Ruiz, I think, are both into pits.
Yes, they're both into pits.
Yep, they are. And Capit is past Paulini as well, so that has happened. Lap 37 is the cutoff, so plus 4 laps. Oh, that's a multi-force off.
Oh, Quint's lost his wings again.
Oh my, I feel for you.
Shall we just call him Wingless Quint?
Wingless. 1 hour. How long have we been going? 45 minutes. This is going to be timed, isn't it? We've gone 45 minutes. So we are probably going to reach the time limit.
About 30 laps? No, 30-something laps, won't it? About 33, I think, that will get in.
So if it's 33 laps, then the cutoff will be 30 laps, which means that Mark Fuller, Quint's pulling off, and Quint has called it a day. But you know what? You know, as Milan is in the pits. You know what? If it is 33 laps that we go to eventually, Mark Fuller is not going to score points, despite the fact he'd be in 15th. He'd be a non-classified runner. Who's that off? Yunt's off again in P8. Hinz and Ruiz as well at serious risk. The reaction. The reaction from the DC heads in my ear is one of disgust and one of disapproval in the highest regard. That is a big no-no, reversing onto the track and doing a Hamilton Hungary-esque spin as well in wet conditions. This race has had it all. As Edgar Ruiz off again in P12. How about this? Only the top 7 drivers are on the lead lap. Incredible scenes.
And Riera's not going to be on the lead lap for much longer because Brugman's catching him up as well. Dennis Jordan's about to go a lap down because he's in the pits for his tyre change now. So he's doing it about the half race distance as expected. I think a lot of drivers are going to be coming in right now.
I don't think a single driver's not spun, no. Maybe with the exception of Hoekstra. Except he's just hit the wall! Unbelievable! Oh my goodness! I think Ben's right. I don't think a single... Oh, is he crabbing as well? He's into the pits either way. So in comes Yunt as well. I think Milan's going to get Hoekstra here. Lars in as well. Brugman's out, so he is going to retain that lead. I think Milan's going to get Hoekstra here, though.
Yeah, Milan, of course, has already pitted, and he's going across the start-finish line now. He's easily got Hoekstra. Hoekstra is still stationary in his pit box, isn't he? So Milan retakes second, and he'll probably come out around about 10 seconds behind Brugman once Brugman pits as well.
Oh, Brugman has pitted.
Has he?
Yeah, he was just in and out.
Oh, of course he did, yes. So, wow, half a second lead by Brugman.
Oh, look at this between Capit and Hoekstra. Look at this between Capit and Hoekstra. Very close between the two, but Capit's actually got him. So, because of that mistake, Hoekstra is now off the podium. Risto Capit takes it into P3.
Yep, so Capit is starting to recover from earlier on as well. My correction, of course, I got this completely wrong. Milan is 13 seconds behind Lars Brugman. Of course, Brugman has made his pit stop. Capit and Hoekstra have made their pit stops too. Although Capit's was very early on, wasn't it? A good 6 laps ago now. So his tyres will certainly become more worn as the race goes on. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm really having trouble keeping up with this one, James. This is absolutely incredible.
15 runners and riders left. It is lap 22 of 41, or at least that's what the top 7 drivers are on. Lars Brugman leads from Borja Milan. Risto Capit third with Wupke Hoekstra in fourth. His teammate Dino Paolini rounds out the top 5 with Riera. What an impressive race from the Venezuelan so far. P6. Jordan 7th, Yunt 8th, but under serious investigation after reversing onto track. Muscat up into 9th with Francic rounding out the top 10. Fournier, Mlinick, Ruiz, Hinz, and Fuller rounding out the point scorers, though Fuller, if we are to believe that we are going to run out of time before we run out of laps, at serious risk of not even classifying for the finish.
Yeah, he's just going...
Paolini in. So apparently Riera and Fuller still yet to pit as well. So Paolini will come in. He's going to come out comfortably ahead of Riera either way. And Riera himself has to pit, which will probably mean that Dennis Jordan will inherit that P6 unless the mistake comes further along the road. But I'm going to draw your attention, Sam, once again to that lead gap between Brugman and Milan. It has been cut down by 2 seconds. So the Spaniard really flying at the moment.
Yeah, I think Brugman's still trying to get his tyres up to temperature, and he's got a bit of traffic ahead of him as well. It looks like it's Thomas Hinz who's still going around in 14th. Remember him? After that first corner crash that really damaged his chances in this race, but he's still going around and he could get some points. So Riera's in the pits now from 6th place, so that promotes Jordan up into 6th himself. And Riera back down to 7th, and Yunt is about half a lap behind, so that's where Riera should come out, is in 7th place.
As I noticed that Fournier's been off again, and Mlinick has taken that position to P11M, and Mark Fuller has also been off again in P15. He's going to keep on going, bless him, but whether it's in vain or not is another question entirely. Looks like Risto Capit and Wupke Hoekstra is still keeping pretty close, though. Wupke Hoekstra, we were fearing that he might have some damage on that rear suspension of his, but he's been keeping tabs with the Estonian so far, and there is still a chance that the podium could be his by the end of the race. Fast as that from Hoekstra as well, we're hearing, so he's really on it.
Yeah, he's certainly tried to pick up the pace there, as I think that's Fuller just getting out of the way of Capit, and then he's going to have to get out of the way of Hoekstra as well. Yep, he's done that, so not too much between them. And it's certainly looking like one of the closer battles we've got on track now. It's certainly spread out a bit. Only 6 cars on the lead lap now. It's getting closer and closer to a complete domination by Brugman here. It's really has been a big struggle for the majority of these drivers.
Hoekstra's rounds! And Ferradura, it's claimed another victim. He's managed to avoid the wall somehow. And because of that 30-second buffer to his teammate, he remains in 4th. But those hopes of the podium, at least for now, have gone up in smoke, quite literally.
Yeah, that was a nasty spin, but lucky not to lose anything in terms of wings. And now he's got more traffic in front of him again in the form of lapped cars. Yunt is right ahead of him. And just looking at the car, the tyres look okay. And I don't think there's any damage anywhere else. So hopefully he can just kind of regroup and carry on from where he left off. But now 7 seconds behind Capit.
Oh my goodness me. What more is there to say here? I've got... Oh, that's Jason Muscat off! Muscat off! And where was that? Was that down at... I think that was down at Mugello. And, yeah, it was. It was down at Mugello. So, Jason Muscat, the lone Multiforce, lost his front... That's the third or fourth front wing that Multiforce have lost this race alone. And he's going to have to come into pit once again. Likely to lose positions to Fournier, Mlinick, potentially Ruiz as well.
Yeah, luckily for him, it was nearly into the track, end of the lap at least. But... wow, they have gone through a lot, haven't they? I think Quint himself lost nearly half a dozen.
Two rear wings and a front wing, but he didn't replace the second lot. As Hinz is round once again, unbelievable. They're dropping like flies, and some of them are plucky enough to keep on rising again, but I say they're dropping like flies. It's all like flies hitting against a glass window, aren't they? They just can't get through. Yeah,
it's I think the conditions are pretty consistent because the times have kind of remained neutral for quite a while now, but it's just so difficult, and the drivers are just having to try and remember how to drive this track in these conditions, and every time they come round a corner it's a complete lottery of whether they'll get round or not, and it just takes focus and poise to be able to keep doing it consistently, and that's a real difficult thing. A lot of drivers are struggling out there to keep the lap times consistent, and that shows how hard it is.
Jason Muscat, by the way, he did lose out that position to Edgar Ruiz, so he rejoins all the way down in P13, 2 laps down on the leaders. It's absolutely bonkers, and unfortunately for those who were hoping for a further battle up at the front, Brugman has started to put the foot down, re-extended the gap to Milan up to 13.1 seconds. Though that said, those of you who are hoping for a podium battle still might be in luck. Whoopke Hoekstra really getting on some good times himself. He's bringing the gap down to Capit once again, now down to 7 seconds, can you believe it, after that massive spin. So really putting in a hard shift is Hoekstra, and Capit is due to pit for sure once again. He didn't even make it to halfway with his original set of wet tyres. So we shall wait and see as who's that round is that. Oh, it's a literal overtake. We've got an overtake, people. Masai Mlinick on Jeffrey Fournier into the first corner, and that was very nicely done for the Polish driver. He's into P10.
Yep, a good move there. It just kind of opened up for him. He stayed in the slipstream, went up the inside of Fournier, and just broke at the right time and covered off the inside and didn't let Fournier get a switch back through the second part of the center S's there. So good move by Mlinick, and he's back into the top 10. Oh, look at that. He got onto the AstroTurf on the outside of turn 4 and just about held onto it. It's easily one of the easiest places to go off and stick it into the wall.
What was Racing Team Stroton's highest? Their highest points finish was a 2nd and a 13th, so 23. But this is certainly going to be one of their better ones, isn't it? Because they've got Fournier in 11th there and Riera in 7th. So, well, that's 14 points. That's a pretty decent return. Unfortunately, we have to remember the context. They've got an ST driver up there in P2, which instantly outscores both of their efforts. Still, nice to see, if this is to be Racing Team Stroton's last evening in Supercup, that they're going out with a bit of a flurry at least.
Yeah, at least they've managed to field drivers to the end of the season, which is always a plus point. So who knows if they'll be here or not next season. I'm sure we'll find out in about a month. Well, we definitely will find out in about a month. Oh, Thomas Hinz has just gone off of Fox, and on the grass. I was about to talk about him because it's important that he gets some points here, because if Milan finishes in second, that would equal up the points between Fox and ST.
Really?
But if Hinz, of course, gets his couple of points, that'll bring them 2 points ahead, because it doesn't look like Fuller's going to score at the moment, and that'll be a 2-point difference between the two teams going into the final race. That's going to be a juicy little fight to keep watching an eye on.
Many would argue, especially with race 2 still to come, is there much point? there's always point. You never know what's going to happen in racing, as is evident from today. There's literally no guarantee of what's going to happen, and thankfully, we do seem to be nearing our conclusion. It is lap 28 of 41. So if we don't hit time, it does seem like we're going to be able to complete the majority of the race at least.
Yeah, I actually don't know how much time we get. It's a shame the game doesn't tell us talking about the game here, but it's a shame. Oh, and Milan's gone off. He's just gone off the track and into the runoff area. Oh, and there's someone else. Muscat's gone off as well.
Off.
Yeah, I think that was up at the top of the track, wasn't it?
It was Ferradura,
yeah.
Again, Ferradura again. It's those inclines, isn't it? They just can't get any traction up there. He actually hasn't lost a position either, but he has lost a lot of time to Thomas Hinz, who can now see him in his eyesight. Race director is expecting full distance, apparently. So we are going to the end.
That's interesting. So it means for Mark Fuller, anyway, he needs to stay less than 5 laps down, then, doesn't he?
4 laps.
I get he'll be all right with 4 laps, maybe. I don't know how the cutoff really plays.
Yeah. I think if it's 4 laps, then he finishes on lap 37, isn't it? So that would be the cutoff. If it's +5, then he's in trouble.
Yeah, definitely with +5, he's got no chance, I feel, of getting the points. So I'll have to wait and see whether that happens or not. Currently, he's 3 laps down, and Brugman isn't actually that far away from lapping him again, actually. So he could be 4 laps down in a couple of laps' time.
This race, though. Hey! Wupke Hoekstra, he's still driving. And he's closed that gap down to cap it to 5 seconds. Considering if he had, that is a remarkable effort to close it down to that close again. And as we've already gone over, Capit has to pit again. Hoekstra maybe not so much. So I tell you what, the Dutchman's shown some real maturity this season. And Mazurek have had an outstanding second half of the season. I know those two are quite eager to work together once again to maybe go for a title run next year. But hey, if they can get an extra podium here, then it's just going to be a further cherry on top of what is a very nicely baked cake.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. I'm just watching Capit. He's having to go through a little bit of traffic right now. And of course, Hoekstra will have to do the same. But that's allowing Hoekstra to catch up bit by bit on this lap. And it's just making it closer and closer. And of course, Capit will know what will be happening. And it'll make him think a bit more. And that's really where mistakes can start being made when you're trying to push just a little bit quicker to get ahead of the guy behind you who's closing in on you. But sometimes it's just inevitable, and there's nothing you can do about it, especially if you don't quite have the confidence in the conditions.
Mark Fuller goes 4 laps down. Now, if we have a little look at our calculations, that is 4 laps in 71% of this race. 71 divided by 4 is 17.75, so we'll round it up to 18. So on current predictions, on current speed, as they are, not being helped by Fuller spinning there, he is not going to classify at the end of this race. He really needs a miracle at this point.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of time now, isn't he? Having to get the car turned back around. And Fournier nearly goes into the back of him as well. That was super close there, luckily in a slow part of the track, so it didn't affect him too much. How much time do we have left? 30 minutes remaining we're hearing, so we've got plenty of time to get these final 12 laps in here, so definitely going to go full distance, and that means that Fuller's got 12 laps not to get lapped. I can't see that happening. I think he's definitely going to get laps now.
Is this all of the sane American steers that we're getting right now?
Yeah, they're all trickling down south.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure about migration of water, but hey,
Right.
Fuller into the pits. Oh no! Oh wait, hold on. This is his first pit stop, isn't it? It's got to be. He's not pitted yet. It is his first pit stop. Okay, well at least he's only got to do one. We know that much. But where's Brugman now? He's just going around Ferradura, so he's going to come out ahead of Brugman. But I fear for Fuller. I don't think he's going to classify.
It's such a shame, isn't it? He's doing all this racing for basically nothing. It's a real shame. And,
He's doing it for the taking part, Sam.
Yes, the taking part, that's what counts, doesn't it? Nothing else counts. Points, wins, championships are all pointless. It's all about taking part.
It's the true irony of Supercup. As oh yeah, look at this. Okay, Hoekstra Capit is on. Oh!
Oh no! Oh, they've both gone round.
Incredible! Oh my goodness me! And there goes Riera, of course. Well, we were going to have a battle, ladies and gentlemen, before Whoopke Hoekstra decided otherwise. This race.
That's pretty much. Oh, someone else has gone around. I think that's Riera's gone around now. So
yep,
it's infectious, isn't it? Really infectious.
I'm half expecting Alonso to turn up with his deck chair at this point in this race. It couldn't get more crazy. What is this?
Someone's got to make a meme of this, aren't they? It has to be made.
What even's happened? Hey, also, Lars Brugman's 25 seconds ahead of Borja Milan. I bet you didn't notice that. Dutchman's been absolutely pummeling in those lap times of late. And, I mean, you've got to give him credit. He's the reigning champion for a reason. And this is just utter domination of the highest class now.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just not bothered with today. Couldn't he? Just not practice because there was nothing on the line, but he's come up here and kind of showed everyone how to drive in the wet conditions around here, and looking absolutely imperious. It's so consistent with lap times as Thomas Hinds pits in again, and that's probably to change his tyres after that spin.
Fournier's been off again. Oh, and almost takes out a Street Fighter in the process. That was Rizzo Capit as well. That was the podium sitter. So Fournier loses a position to Ruiz, who heads up to P11. So despite the fact that both TGs went off and lost both of their front wings, they're still 10th and 11th.
Yeah, they really are, aren't they? They just seem to be in the same place all the time. Every time we look at them, they're around 10th, 11th, and, well, I guess it's just the further down you are, the more you spin, maybe. I don't know.
Now, Supercup 2016, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers, good night. Take care. Have a good one. Bye, take care.
Yes, James has finally gone. We thought we got rid of him earlier on in the season, and now we finally have. We can all celebrate.
Yeah.
James has left Supercup.
Oh, don't tell me. Is he okay? Oh, he's wriggling like a worm. Don't worry, I'm still here. It was just for the joke. Don't worry, that's not another retirement. That's just someone deciding he's had enough of watching this. To be fair, this has possibly been one of the most entertaining evenings of sim racing I've had in my life. And also it really does show. R Factor 2 is difficult. Like, it's hard enough. As Yunsov apparently as well in P8. Yep. Yun Kao again. Ferradura and Yun Kao. They're like serial murderers at this point. As Jeffrey Fournier into the pits now in P13. That means Jason Muscat will go through to inherit P12. Will Thomas Hinds get him? No, he's going to come out ahead of Thomas Hinds, but that's good for Fournier. Noah Pitts. Oh, yeah. That's a good shout. Frančić, yep. Frančić.
Oh, he's in the wall again.
No! Unbelievable. That is a terrible pit entry from David Frančić. No sevens from me here. It's a strictly pit lane, and David Frančić dances into the pit lane in a clumsy fashion. Another set of wets for him. I wonder whether he might be looking to repair suspension as well. Linick goes through. So, yeah, Linick goes through. He's into P9. I was thinking, is there a different lap system? No. David Frančić, the man who has podiumed multiple times this season, he is 2 laps behind the race leader. Wow. That is some very useful info. Thank you very much to Mr. Mike Quint, who has provided us with information that the rain
Fournier's up again.
Was almost at 100%, as Fournier is he's probably more Fournier at this, or was it Fournier? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a funny pun. I apologize, Jeff. You're trying your best out there. You're doing much better than I would do in these conditions. That's for sure. I would have retired laps ago. Almost 100% wetness, Sam.
Oh, and Malinik spun as well. He's gone round. We'll get onto this eventually, won't we, James?
Incredible. Is David Frančić going to overtake him? It's going to be close. At least there's a battle on track. It's apparently accurate Okay, so apparently Massim Linick has actually talked to us, and it's It's almost maximum percentage wetness, which is bonkers. I've never seen it this high before. The closest I saw was a World GT race where it got up to 75%.
I was going to say, I think I've driven in about 60, and that was pretty bad. It was pretty shocking conditions, so I can't even imagine what this would be like. We're all sharing our story.
Ben has, yeah. I mean, we do need so. Oh, and bad news for Mark Fuller.
Yes.
Plus 5 laps.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
unfortunately, he's not going to classify.
We've probably driven everyone to off the cliff with talking about Fuller's lap update, but that's certainly the case now. Fuller is basically driving around pointlessly, as in he's not going to get any points. So real shame for him. But
Fournier is going to be sweating as well. He's now on plus 3 laps.
Yeah, if he has another off, maybe loses a wing or something, he could be in real trouble, and that would be a shame for Racing Team Schroeting, because currently they've got 2 cars in the points, which would be at least a nice way to go out at the end of this season after the troubles that they've had in some races this year.
It does feel like elimination qualifying again, Ben. You're absolutely right. It just feels like the Hunger Games at this point. 100% wetness? Let's go! Have a go. I was heart in mouth moment there. I thought the Capit had caught up to Milan. It's in fact David Francic who's caught up to Milan. I was completely wrong. My apologies. Is there a race going on between 2 drivers? I don't think there is. Oh, actually, we can go to P11. Ruiz and Muscat's quite close.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. We've got a bad camera angle there for me, so I couldn't work out where they were. But yeah, they are actually pretty close together, aren't they? And Muscat, who was struggling down nearly last earlier on, he seems to have kind of regained some composure after losing another front wing, and he's actually really all over the back of Ruiz right now, going into Young Cal. So potentially into turn 1, he's got a chance if he can stick with Ruiz to try and get him with like a normal, legitimate overtake.
There's a pretty interesting battle in the Teams Championship between Multiforce and Enterprise, isn't there? Yeah, they're separated by 23 points. So with both Enterprises out of the game, this would have been a massive chance for Multiforce to catch up on those. If they score 5 points here, then they're still going to be in with a good chance of scoring some good points over Enterprise and potentially taking, what was it, P5 in the Championship? Yeah, P5 in the Championship. But, yeah, so apart from the ST and I forget what the other team was, ST Fox battle, I think that's the other closest Championship battle where teams' positions could change. He could do with this P11, because 5 points is going to make their job a lot easier in race 2.
Yeah, certainly. It's still going to require a good 2-car finish in race 2, isn't it? But of course, the conditions could be completely different by then. We might be looking at dry conditions, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just being hopeful.
I think we're all trying to be hopeful at this point. Is Muscat off?
I think he's
letting Hostra through. Yeah, he's letting Hostra through. That's fine. Who, fair play to him, is only 11 seconds off Capit again. I mean, he's clearly got pace in that car, Hostra. It's just the mistakes are absolutely killing him at the moment.
Yeah, but I think that's really been the case of the day, hasn't it? That drivers are where they are, depending on partly on pace and consistency, but also on the number of mistakes that they've made. And Hoekstra's made a couple in this second half of the race, and that's cost him quite a bit of time. Otherwise, he definitely would be on the podium, I feel, right now. But he's got through some of this traffic, and the Ruiz Muscat battle has been broken up a little bit at the moment. But I think when Ruiz has to let Hoekstra through, it will close back up again.
Paolini Jordan is pretty close in terms of where they are on track as well. Paolini just going around the Bico de Pato now, and Jordan just going through the corner as well. They're separated by Thomas Hinz, the back marker. But the battle for the top 5 is pretty close as well, and fair play to Dennis Jordan. He's had an eventful, but a very progressive race, starting near the back, up there in P6. Paolini, he hasn't looked on the pace, to be fair, this evening, but through consistent driving, he is up there. He is in P5, looking as consistent as always. I would be worried if I was him. Although that said, we are running out of laps. We're on lap 38 of 41 with our leader Lars Brugman. Only 5 to go. Or 4 to go even, sorry. No, it is 5 to go. Never mind me. 8, 9, 40. No, there's 4. I'm dead. I'm dead inside at the moment. Sorry.
Interesting thing. I'm just looking at. We were talking about Paolini, and he has had a pretty quiet race, hasn't he? And just from looking at his times and everything, I know it's not a good indication, but it doesn't really look like he's had any major incidents in this race. So he's just
If anyone hasn't spun, it'd be him.
Yes, he might have spun near the start. It's hard to tell, and I'm sure someone might actually know more than I do. But he's looked decent in terms of not spinning ever since then, but certainly not on the pace. He's certainly been nowhere near what the leaders can produce, and that's why he's probably a lap down right now.
In 5th position, though.
In 5th position, no less, yes.
You know, that's kind of been the key for these drivers today. If they keep going, with the exception of Mark Fuller, they're going to score points. And
Capit's had a bad lap.
Oh, Capit has had a bad lap, hasn't he? Yeah. The gap's gone down to 3 seconds, so maybe there is still life in Hoekstra yet, and maybe that podium is still within reach. And actually, fair play to Capit for making it this long. Those wet tyres must be screaming out right now.
Oh, of course, yes. No wonder he's done over half of race distance on these laps now. So on these tyres now, sorry. So he's going to really struggle on these final few laps here, and this could actually give Hoekstra a real opportunity to get 3rd.
Yeah, he's eating up that gap, isn't he, Hoekstra, on clearly fresher tyres. Capit's seriously struggling around the tighter corners in particular, and I think we'll see perhaps just how close these two are once we go up into Young Cal. We're crossing the 3rd sector split now, and 1.6 seconds between the two, so the gap was halved over the course of those first 2 sectors alone. We're heading on to lap 39 of 41 with these guys. I do think that this is Hoekstra's podium to lose now, because he is simply so much faster and with much better tyres as well.
Yeah, he's still got to remain composed, though. He can't make a mistake. It's going to be so easy to do because he's got fairly worn tyres as well, so he's going to be struggling a little bit for a grip out there also. So it's going to be interesting, but we've definitely got a battle on our hands in the final few laps.
We'll just watch this until the end, shall we? It seems to be the logical choice. Heading through to Interlagos then, with Capit and Hoekstra. And Hoekstra going a little bit wide there. And this might be something where the experience of Capit will really show. He knows how to bring a car to the end. And he knows how to defend to boot. Heading round Ferradura that has claimed its fair share of victims, including Hoekstra, this race alone. And then into turn 8 before we head into the Pirenino. Turn 9, heading up now towards turn 10. Bico de Pato, a succession of tight hairpins in this sector, and you can already see just how close Hoekstra's getting now. He sniffs that rear box as we head down Mugello and into Young Cal for the 39th time of asking. Hoekstra gets a good exit here, then he's going to be into the system, a little bit of a wiggle, but it's not too bad because they're both really as bad as each other. Through the Subida de Box as we go now. And on towards the technical final corner. Yeah,
Hoekstra's actually got a bit of a slipstream here, so he might have a chance at going on the inside of Capit, going into turn 1. He's having a look, and he's braking for it, and Capit's left the door open, and oh my goodness, he nearly binned it, didn't he? But just got the opposite lock on and managed to survive, but that was super close to wiping both of the drivers out.
Almost Hulkenberged it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my word. Looking very slippery around there, but down the back straight here, the Rita Oposta. No real leverage there as we head into Descida del Lago then. Running out of laps as Hoekstra. He's effectively got 1.5 laps left to... Oh, it is the last lap from Brugman, but yeah, top four drivers will have 1.5 laps left to go, pushing Capit almost around the Ferradura. It's Hoekstra, and I think he's just going to try and stick in behind now, try and see whether he can't sneak him into one of these hairpins, or at the very least get him into the center S. Oh yeah, he's got that horribly wrong actually, and so all of that good work slightly undone. Is it a case of so close yet so far?
It's going to be close, but he has got another lap, of course. Brugman's halfway around his final lap now, full 45 seconds ahead of Borja Milan, it's that dominant of a display. But these two are still pretty close, coming out of Young Cow and along the main straight. Hoekstra is much further back this time, so he won't have a chance into turn 1. But he can at least try and close the gap and maybe set Capit up for turn 4 or potentially later on in the lap.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll see how long those tyres run out. But coming down Mugello now and into Young Cow for the final time. Actually, am I wrong? No, it is Young Cow for the final time asking. Never mind. He's going to win his... Who?
Sorry, carry on.
Oh, never mind. Okay, he's going to win his umpteenth race of the season. From the back of the grid, Lars Brugman, our reigning champ, wins again by possibly one of the largest margins in Supercup history. It was 45 seconds, but Borja Milan has been off again. We'll keep an eye on the battle low now between Capit and Hoekstra, still ever so close as we are into Sector 2. Hoekstra's going to have to try a desperate Dan lunge, I reckon, if he's going to get anything. He's taken Pinerio a bit better this time, but I think Capit's actually got a decent go at him. Look at that, Hoekstra trying to take the wide line in, maybe looking for a little mistake from Capit, maybe into Young Cow. He'll get some love. Borja Milan, though, coming up the hill. My driver of the day, for sure. He's just been there constantly, always in with a chance of scoring that podium. And indeed, he will score his first podium of the season. Well deserved. Risto Capit is going to take him third because Hoekstra spun himself. And so Capit will take the podium. Hoekstra fourth, and these guys have already finished. Paolini fifth, Jordan sixth, Riera seventh with Yunt eighth, Mlinick ninth with Francis 10th. Ruiz will come home to finish 11th, Muscat 12th, Hinz will finish 13th, Fournier 14th, and though Mark Fuller does finish P15, unfortunately he does not classify.
Yeah, sorry for stepping in on you there, James, as Fournier had lost his rear wing, and in all the excitement, I completely forgot where we were in the race. It's been an absolutely mad one today. It's certainly been surreal experience commentating on this, and the guys are just smashing up across the line. I think a lot of them are quite relieved that this one's finally over for them. But Lars Brugman has been truly imperious here. He's just dominated, and by winning by 52 seconds is not by luck or anything like that. He's just gone out there and smashed the field away, and while doing it from where he started on the grid as well. You wouldn't bet against him in race 2, especially if it's wet conditions once again. But you're right, James. Borja Milan has got to be one of the standout drives of today. Before today, I think his best place was a 6th place finish, wasn't it? So to get second place here is really good effort, and that's a huge help for ST Racing. They gained some points. Thomas Hinz actually finished in 13th in the end, so he picks up 3 points. So it means it's a 3-point gap between ST and Fox Racing going into the final race of the season. And of course, ST will have 2 drivers. Fox will only have the 1, and it's really probably going to be a straight fight between Milan and Hinz for who can get the most amount of points to try and steal this one right at the finish.
Your retirements from this race, by the way, were Quint, Niels Brugman, De Vries, Polotzek, Grek, Beresen, and of course, Hraljanovic didn't even start the race. You know what? I'm talking to him now. He's saying that perhaps it was a good thing that he didn't start the race after watching what unfolded. Because, that did not look fun. Lars Brugman says he loves the rain. I'm not too surprised after that. I'm pretty sure that is the largest winning margin in Super Cup history, though. 52 seconds. Only the top 4 were on the same, or were on the lead lap. Insane stuff.
And only just as well, weren't they? They were a good, about 2/3 of a lap behind. So that is incredible by Lars Brugman. Another important thing to note is TG Racing picked up about 12 points there in that race. So that actually has vaulted them up into 8th in the championship. They've overtaken Kajala, who haven't turned up today. And that's been costly for them. That's cost them a place in the Constructors' Championship as well. And that won't be switching back around in race 2 unless suddenly 2 Kajalas appear out of the mist and the murk. But I can't see that one happening. So it's all still little things to play for here and there in the championship battles in both drivers and constructors. So very interesting stuff.
And of course, in that Enterprise Multiforce battle, only 4 points gained on Enterprise from Multiforce. So they have got to score 19 points over Enterprise in order to take P5, which, if I remember correctly, is going to be their highest position in a couple of years, actually. I'll have to go back and check for you, but I'm certain there will be an improvement on last year. They were 6th last year, actually, so it would be an improvement of 1 place. But Multiforce, they've been a mid-table team. They want to try and rise up the rankings once again. Yeah, they were 6th in 2014 as well, so trying to buck the trend here, Sam.
Yeah, it's trying something different, and just in the drivers as well, a few things that have happened. Risto Capit has cemented his 3rd place in the championship with his finish of 3rd place. Sorry, there. So that means he's got 3rd in the championship now, and also Francic has gained under Niels Brugman by 6 points in that race by finishing 10th. So that means there's only 2 points behind between Niels Brugman and Francic for 5th place in the championship. Again, that's going to be one to watch out for in the final race to see who can grab that spot.
Oh, sorry, you wanted to go home? Sorry, we've got another 24 laps of race 2 yet to go. You might just have to stick around for that one. And we've got a reverse grid, of course. A randomized number from 6 to 10 based on the finishing positions of race 1, of course. Those drivers are Dennis Jordan, Argenis Riera, David Yunt. I did write it down correctly, never mind me. Masai Mlinik and David Francic, all of whom, with the exception of Francic, of course, have not won a Supercup race recently. I forget whether Yunt has won a Supercup race. I'm pretty sure he hasn't. But that's a pretty inexperienced field there, which does include, of course, Francic, who is bang out of form, unfortunately.
Yes. I'm thinking now you're racking my brains here, James, because Francic, of course, competed last year, didn't he?
Francic won. He's won 2 races this year.
Yep.
He won Monaco race 2 and Abu Dhabi race 2.
And
The race 2s are his thing.
Yep. He didn't actually win last year. Yeah. It was Francic you were talking about for wins, wasn't it? Or am I?
I was talking about Yunt.
It was Yunt, wasn't it? Yes, I knew I got that wrong. I'm already in holiday season, winter season mode here. I'm not at the racetrack at all. Yunt, I don't think he's actually won a race because he didn't win one last year. He got a few podiums, but certainly never picked up a win.
I'm checking back the earlier seasons to see whether he featured at all. I'm pretty sure he hasn't won. Apparently the rain is still here as well. So, GG everyone. Yeah, he's taken a couple of fastest laps. In fact, he has taken a pole position in Supercup before in the 2010 season, but he's not won a race.
That's going back, isn't it? We need to do something like Sky with the Premier League, just to kind of reinvent the series so we have less history to have to look back on.
Not a bad idea, and well, it wasn't a bad idea for Riera to keep continuing despite the amount of offs he has, because he is now on reverse grid pole position, so Yunt will not be starting there. The front row will be Riera and Dennis Jordan, and I must say, for Dennis Jordan, that is a pretty nifty position to have, because he has been on the podium this season. He's been showing marked improvements over his form last year, and he was consistent even back then. It's looking pretty good for the German here. He could be nailed on for a podium if he keeps it clean.
Yes, I really feel like, though, this race, if the conditions stay as they are, which in warm-up at least, it looks still pretty damn wet, and there's lots of guys.
Almost maximum rainage still.
Rainage, is that a word now?
No, I made it up.
Yeah, I reckon, starting positions aren't really going to mean much apart from do you survive turn 1, 2, 3 and 4, maybe 5 as well. And then after that, I think it's literally just going to come down to who's the most consistent and who doesn't bin it. So you could start down near the back. It could be one of these guys that didn't finish race 1, Clint, De Vries, someone like that just didn't get there in race 1. They could have a chance of winning if they've got the pace in the rain. We don't really get to find out whether they did or not. And That's really going to be the key. And again, it's going to be that start line, isn't it? It's so difficult to get the car off the line in conditions like this, because every time you pull a gear or try to put your foot down the accelerator, the tyres just spin up, and it's so easy to just spin out and cause a huge crash like we saw in race 1.
Here indeed, looks like, wow, I've just had a look at the team speak and it looks deserted. So I imagine there's a number of people not coming back, Beresford included, so he might only have 20 drivers. Mind you, as long as Fajanovic actually makes it to the start-finish line and actually finishes the race, he's arguably in the best position since he starts last.
Yeah,
And,
the only thing he's going to have is very small amount of experience in these conditions, isn't he? Because he didn't even get out there at the start of race 1, unfortunately.
Didn't he start at the back in race 2 in Brazil as well and score points?
When was this? Last year?
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Yes, I do seem to remember him going past me. Yes, he did score points. Yes.
Okay, so
if he passed me, he scored points.
He's got experience then in at least coming from the back. Love you, Sam. It's okay. We'll all cry for you at some point in the evening. It's all right.
It's all right. I don't think some people were crying for me yesterday. They were probably swearing.
So perhaps we'll see some of the new sales for the boat modifications coming out in this race. Our special wet package. That was secret and unannounced until today.
Oh, do you get a nice little rudder on the rear as well to get that background, get steering from the rear.
Steer from the rear. I'm sure a driver said that once. Probably wasn't intelligent, but never mind.
Oh man, where are we going?
And political jokes from the chat as well. Whoopie Hoster, why can't I scroll back my chat? Dennis Jordan, because of Trump. So already having an impact on the sim racing world.
I was gutted, James. You trumped me to the first political joke of the evening.
I just clinged onto it, didn't I?
Oh my god. Someone end the broadcast now.
Oh, see, here's the thing. Everybody's been watching Supercup, but they're going to be glad when we're gone. It's like, finally, they've dragged them off the air.
It is. It's like that kind of double act that's kind of got a bit too old, isn't it? Those comedians that should really retire.
Also, can I say the Spice Plum Cider, not Winter Cider. I thought this was going to be a rebranding. I have been pleasantly surprised. It's actually very nice, though not doubting Record League, everything they make is nice. Not Winter Cider, though, so there's a bit of consumer information. By the way, warm-up's over. We're looking to go into the second, almost maximum rainage percentage, whatever you want to call it, race of the evening. It's going to be bonkers. Riera on pole, he might as well be tasked with winning it as well at this rate, because he's going to be ahead of everyone else who's going to crash on the start-finish line.
Yep, that's definitely going to happen, James. You know what, I've got probably less voice left than I hoped, and well, I don't think he can quite get through another race of absolute carnage, and I can't really see anything other than carnage happening right now, because people are just all over the place in this warm-up session. I know they're pushing the limits, but it still looks ever so difficult out there to get the car around, and well, they're actually going to have to race each other as well, aren't they, at the start of the race, and racing each other in these conditions is pretty much impossible.
Again, it's just about surviving. It's
and then we all get to go on a holiday.
Yeah, it's true. Until more racing happens.
More racing?
I'd keep an eye on GPVWC.com and as the R Factor Man says his famous words once again, and keep an eye on a couple of probably team accounts, I'd imagine, to keep tabs on GPVWC Day, because I'm sure we'll get plenty of information. And is there no rain? Okay. It takes 30 seconds to sink. There might be rain.
People are still on wets, aren't they? So it's certainly a wet track out there.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. No worries. Right. Let's end this Mississippi mud pie of an evening, shall we? Argenis Riera. starts us off on pole position. He's joined by Dennis Jordan. And there's the two Mazuriks. Hey, they are on, or they're starting in very good positions here. Paolini third with Hoekstra fourth. Then it's Capit in fifth with Borhamland sixth.
Oh, wow.
And there is the rain, and it is falling. Lars Brugman seventh with David Junt eighth. Masai Mlinik ninth with David Francis rounding out the top 10. We have Edgar Ruiz 11th with Jason Muscat 12th. Thomas Hins 13th with Jeffrey Fournier 14th. Mark Fuller 15th. Mike Quint 16th. Sven de Vries 17th with Tobias Polotzek 18th. Thomas Grek 19th. And Antonio Hrajanovic will round out the grid in P20. And that means that we have lost a number of drivers throughout this evening, unfortunately. But we hope to see as many of them back soon for Supercup 2017. So, Sam, let us look at these wonderful people up there in the top 10. Maybe even further beyond if you're feeling a little bit cheeky for your predictions today. Who's going to win the final race of the season?
Well, as you know, I'm incredibly boring. So, I'm going to be boring. And I'm going to say that Lars Brugman's going to win it because he's just too fast in these conditions. Absolutely nailed it in race one. And he's starting further up, so he's got less of a disadvantage. So a guaranteed win for Lars Brugman coming right up.
You know what? Dennis Jordan. I think there's a surprise in the air to come. And I reckon that we might see a win from either of the front row. I have been proven wrong in the past. I'm almost 90% convinced that I am going to be proven wrong once again. But after race one, I'm even more of the belief that anything can happen around here, especially if there's another start-finish straight crash. The drivers will line up in their spots once again. Remember, it's an uphill climb for the shortest amount up till turn one, and so there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding as people try to get off the line. Riera has slotted into pole position, and we're just going to wait for everyone else to fill out their slots before we look up to the lights for the final time. It's a nervous wait. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here for the final time in Supercup 2016, we are racing. And it is a good start there from Riera. He got off the line all right. And a lot of people have bogged down. Look at Lars Brugman there going along the outside along with Risto Capit. And the two of them are already onto the podium as we head into turn one. A great launch from the two, but Riera getting away off the line really nicely there. Super sweet. The bite point was perfectly found. And he leads by a couple of tenths from Capit and Brugman. Further down the order, let's see who's not had a good start. Polotzek, he's down to P20, unfortunately. Hrajanovic from the back of the grid, he's almost into the points already. He's had a good start. Everyone else seemingly keeping relatively the position which they started in as we head into Sector 1. Riera with a 1 second lead over Risto Capit, though we are only 1 sector into the first lap here. There is a long way to go yet. Surely what Riera is going to hope for is that Brugman can put some pressure onto Risto Capit, although it's already gone wrong, and a little bit of a deep exit there. Oh, contact between the two as they head into Bica de Pato, and Lars Brugman's through to second already. I'm sorry, Sam, you were right all along. I was grievously mistaken here. Into Young Cow then, a lot of drivers lost here, and already a massive gap being opened up between Hoekstra in fourth and Jordan in fifth. And it seems like Risto Capit there has had a bit of a poor exit out of Young Cow as well, although look at Lars Brugman now, right onto the back of Riera, and surely if Riera is going to be smart, he's going to allow the much, much faster car through. We end lap one here. We head into the center S for the second time asking. Brugman around the outside! Oh, if he gets this done, that's going to be incredible. A little bit of contact there. Keeps it in. Riera holds on just about. He leads from Brugman, Capit, Hoekstra, Jordan, Paolini, Mlinik, Junt, Milan, Andrew Weith, but it's not ending there. The top four still fighting and dogfighting out. 3 for first as we go into Desina Delago. Lars Brugman ahead around the outside of Riera. Great move there from the Dutchman. He takes P1. And what about Capit? Can he take Riera as well? Oh, contact though. Contact. A bit of a loose moment from Capit. And Hoekstra is into the wall. That means that Dennis Jordan is back up onto the podium, though. It wasn't exactly the clean start that everybody was hoping for as we go further into lap one.
Well,
lap two, even, sorry.
Yep, we're halfway through lap 2, aren't we? And, well, who would have thought that being boring and logical would be the way to go? But that looks like the way it is at the moment, because Lars Brugman leads, and yeah, I think my prediction might just about happen there. But of course, anything could happen, couldn't it? It's not the conditions to be gambling against, that's for sure. It's interesting to see that Brugman's got a 4-second lead. That is truly incredible. But now we've got a real scrap on for second. Riera, Jordan, Paolini are all very close together, and Capet is going to have to try and catch up with these guys. He's got the pace to do it, and we'll see if he can catch up as well after that mistake. And then guys further down, it's all looking a bit line astern, but of course these guys just want to get used to this. Plotzek's around as well further back, and he's certainly not had a good start to this race after troubles in race 1 as well.
Linux had a pretty decent battle as well, as Mike Quint becomes our first retirement of the race, and apparently there was a battle for P16. I think that's Roljanovic getting past Mark Fuller. Yep, for P1, they're getting a little bit slippery there out of the center rest, but he has taken that position. Yeah, Mlinik has had a very nice start, actually. It's Borja Milan there looking to go up the inside of Junt, not happening, but Mlinik up to P6. Great start for the Polish driver. Reith up to P9 as well, so TG going strong. Jason Muscat up to P10. Remember that battle in the team's championship between Motorforce and Enterprise, with Enterprise currently scoring nil points. Jason Muscat needs to finish second or higher in order to see his team finish above Enterprise, especially with Quint actually retiring. That is an important part of this race and that little inter-battle for sure. As we go back into the field, I'm struggling to think of who to have a look at, to be honest, because everyone's really close, but it's a question of who's going to crack first in terms of the weather.
Oh, and Fournier's nearly lost it. He just kind of drifts it in there, but manages to hold on to the car. It seems that everyone's a little bit more composed at the start of this race. I think they've got used to the conditions more now.
Oh, Milan's round! And that was a bit of indecision there. Mlinik lost it on the edge of Young Cowan as he was trying to get back into his stride. He caused Milan to avoid and unfortunately spin up. And so is he going to be overtaken by Fournier as well? Yes, he is. Milan all the way down to 15th! As how on earth did Fournier crash there? I have no idea. Either way, he's gifting Milan 14th again. Rajanovic and Ruiz's round. Oh dear, where's that? Is that on the center S, I think? Yeah. And so more free positions for everybody. Mark Fuller into the points. Maybe he'll actually score this time.
Yeah, he's certainly got a few less laps to contend with, and wow, it's still looking very difficult out there, isn't it? Cars all over the place already. But the top 10 kind of shook themselves out into where they are, and just running nose to tail, gapping each other just a little bit. But Lars, has someone else gone around? Junt has made a mistake there, and he's gone down to 7th. Mlinik up to 6th.
That's a quick switch over of positions. Once again, Brugman still with a 6.2 second lead. He's checked out. He's gone. He said, thank you, Supercup season. I'm on my way now. But fair play to Riera, actually. Still holding on to P2 here. Same here for Dennis Jordan in P3. Dino Paolini, once again, showing good consistency, up in a good position, but not showing that sharp pace, which means that he can go and attack the podium.
He certainly can, and that's actually looking like what he's trying to do right now. He's looking very quick, and P7. Oh wow, there's a whole gang of cars, isn't there? Junt and Muscat are going side by side down the pit straight now. Muscat is just a little bit behind Junt. It's going to be who can break the laces, and Muscat breaks very late there and gets it turned in as well. Good move. He takes that position up into 7th and looking much better so far this race. Junt's nearly lost it again.
And now he's got Frančić all over the back of him. Look at Hinz and De Vries as well involved in this battle. It's a massive gaggle of cars here for some decent points as we head down to Desida de Largo. Will Frančić go for it? Yes, he is. He's going to dive down. Oh, contact between the two. Bit too late there from Frančić, and Thomas Hinz is going to say thank you very much. He's going to pick up P8, and Wupke Hoekstra as well. Going to pick up a free couple of positions, and actually he's going to go past Hinz in the process, is he? Yes, he is around the outside of the Ferradura. Good little bit of opportunistic driving there from the Dutchman. Up to P8, Hinz up to P9, De Vries up to P10, and Hoekstra just saved a little moment as well. Milan up to 11th. Junt back on the road into P12. Thankfully for him, that contact with Frančić not costing him much. Rajanovic as well benefiting up to P13. Frančić down to P14. And now he's got the Frenchman Fournier all over the back of him.
Yeah, right now Hinz is doing enough. He's ahead of Milan in the race, and that's important in the constructors, of course. But he's got Sven de Vries all over the back of him. Of course, Sven started from near the rear of the field after dropping out of race 1 very early on, and this is a good little battle for 8th, cut-in if anything else is going on the track, because Hinz is on the back of Hoekstra, but it's actually looking like he's under a bit more pressure from de Vries and pressurising the guy ahead as they go across the start-finish line. Is anyone going to have a look into turn 1? I think they're all just a little bit too spaced out to have a go this time around, but of course it's a real pressure time now for all these drivers.
Indeed, still a 1 second gap between Riera and Jordan, not much going on there. It seems that the battle for P8 effectively, so Hoekstra, Hinz, de Vries is the closest one on track. Maybe Janten Frejanovic going to light up a little bit later, with David Francic looking to get onto the back of that as well. Still only one retirement from this race, Mike Quint on the first lap. But it seems like everybody's just trying to ease their way into the race once again, although Thomas Hinz all over the back of Wupke Hoekstra. And apparently P2's lighting up as well. Yeah, indeed, Riera's lost a bit of time there in the first sector to Dennis Jordan, the German, now pretty eager to make his way past. Lars Brugman, not a concern. He's 10 seconds up the road. It's very much the second tier of the field battle, this one. And Jordan's got to be careful because Paolini still holding a watching brief pretty close behind, actually.
Yeah, they're all close together, aren't they? But again, it's just a slight gap between the three of them, means that no one's really having any chance to overtake. We're going to watch it down the pit straight now. Again, I just feel that Jordan's too far back right now to have a go at Riera, but at least he's pressurised him, and Riera will definitely know who's there. Seeing that blue car through the spray coming out from his rear tyres, and they all look fairly clean through the centre S's, so no one really gaining or losing there. And further back, I think it's very much the same. De Vries pressurising Hinz for 9th, but no move down the pit straight.
Apparently there's a tiny dry line forming, and I do see that, Ben, actually.
Oh,
so maybe the rain... Maybe... oh, and yeah, Junt's round. Junt's round at turn 1 there. I do wonder whether the rain is relenting just a bit, but yeah, a mistake all on his own from Junt. Just lit up the tyres through the centre S. He is back on the road. He is still in the points, but it's P15 and not P12. Frejanovic, Francic, and Fournier, they all pick up extra points.
At the moment, they certainly do. And again, Jordan looking close to Riera through this middle sector here.
No.
What's happened to Milnick?
Oh, did he?
Oh,
so yeah, Muscat up to 6th. Yeah, fair play. And Linnick down from 6th to 7th. Muscat benefiting there. But where we were going back to again, was it Riera or?
We can go wherever we like. We have full reign of where we want to go.
I don't know where I want to go. I'm indecisive.
Maybe we might need to look at Jordan here, because down the pit straight, Jordan looks a little bit closer to Riera this time around. Again, I think just a little bit too far back, and yeah, he won't challenge into turn 1. So perhaps we shouldn't have gone there. Oh, and De Vries has gone round. De Vries has gone round.
Oh, yeah, that's massive, actually. That is, once again, that is on the final couple of corners. There must be a bump there. Fournier's hit it a couple of times. And look at this. Is he going to lose out to Frejanovic as well? He probably is, actually. Oh, and that's really dangerous there from De Vries. My word, and especially with Frejanovic and Francic battling themselves as well. Either way, those two are through, and De Vries is round. He's lost his head a little bit now. Fournier and Junt are through, and De Vries has called it a day. And Ruiz's round as well in P15. So is Polotze going to gain anything? I don't think so. Ruiz's got a lot of time, but yeah, that was some uncharacteristically poor driving there from De Vries. A real shame, but thankfully, is Milinic round again? Oh yes, he is. Oh, and there's a massive bit of massage there. Look at that, Hoekstra involved in that as well. So Muscat actually lost the position. So Hoekstra up to 6th, Muscat down to 7th, Milinic down to 8th, and Hinz. Oh no! Oh, Hinz.
Oh no.
Oh, he didn't deserve that. That was just a snap from Linnick. Wasn't his fault. Milan gains there up to P10. Thomas Hinz just cutting across the entire road and almost getting in the way of them. That's a really debatable rejoin. Either way, back into P10. I think order has been restored. And further back, Francic has finally gotten past Frejanovic. Francic up to P11, Frejanovic down to P12.
I think it's desperation times, wasn't it, from Hinz there, because he needs to stay with Milan right now. They are so close in the championship. And at the moment, it's just going to be Fox that managed to rule out between the two. Muscat, he lost his position earlier on because he went deep into turn 1 on the previous lap, and that's why he dropped a position to Hoekstra, and then regained that position effectively when Mlinick went off. And Milan and Hinz are side by side coming out the 7S, and Hinz just slots in behind Milan, but this is really close between the two drivers, and Hinz is actually looking pretty decent for pace right here.
Look at this, he's having a go on Milan as well, and why not? Down the inside we go. He does not chuck it up the inside, as his mantra usually states, and probably for the better as well. He's got some good points on the table here for Fox. His team could do with them for sure. Let's see, further back, there's a Junt versus Fournier. We've still got Hruljanovic versus Francic, and of course we've got this midfield battle still to go. Riera's still keeping about a second's distance from Jordan as well. The Venezuelan putting on a masterful display of driving here, looking to equal the team's best performance, I should say, in the series so far. I'm just going to check whether it was Riera who took that podium.
Yes, it was.
It was. So yeah, looking to get a second podium in about as many 4 races actually.
Yeah, that's not bad for. Oh, Milan's gone off, has he?
Yep, and Hinz is through. He's changed, and Ruiz is out as well. Oh dear, so our third retirement in Ruiz, and a switch change there from that's the same word, it's the same meaning, just different words. What am I on about? Hinz up to 9th, Milan up to 10th is the important information you need to know.
You can change a switch though. That's certainly something that's possible.
Yeah.
But that was just basically a rage quit from Ruiz right there, and that's not good for TG. But it does actually mean that Ghostbutt and Terence Gretsch moves up a place, and Gretsch is only 1 place off a points finish now, so a team that kind of disappeared off the radar for a while might just pick up a point or 2 here today if Gretsch can keep it on the road. As it looks like Riera's coming under pressure again. Yep.
So this is going into Bico de Pato then. And it seems that Jordan is able to catch up through this point. By the way, they're now 20 seconds off the lead. We're on lap 10. So we might see as big a winning margin as we saw in race 1. Purely because of more free air. Fastest lap from Lars Brugman, no surprise there at all. But it's... Oh, that's an ST off. I think that's Fuller. That's Fuller off, don't worry. Yeah. And once again, out of young Cal, Riera with some good traction out of that corner, and so it doesn't really put him under too much threat here. Jordan's certainly closer than he has been in previous laps, but once again, into the center S, no good. And apparently the rain is easing off, according to our weathermen, so... Might we see the dry tyre, guys? Oh, who knows?
Well, that would be certainly spice things up a little bit, wouldn't it? But, well, you'd have to lose a lot of water right now. And we can see the dry line, of course, can't we? But I don't think it's that dry. It's more of a less wet line. That's probably the best way to call it. It just doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
The less wet line. I mean, we can roll with it if you want. It's possible. There's apparently Mlinick under pressure here from Hinz. Yeah, look at this. The Australian on a real charge now. Unable to do anything there. And, is that Junt looking on Hruljanovic? It is, but no good doing into Interlagos either. So we do have a couple of potential position changes in the midfield here. Still having some good battles throughout. Tobias Polotzek now, by the way, inheriting that final point position in P15 as Fuller's been off the road again, and oh my god, almost clouting into the one of the Mazuriks as well. Oh, Hruljanovic is off, and he has most certainly lost his front wing as well, and so all that good work might see him come home pointless.
Yeah, that's actually a big blow for him because he's not that far ahead. Polotzek on the road, they're on a slightly different lap, but not too far away on the road, and Hruljanovic has still got quite a bit of the lap left to do without a front wing as well, so we'll see where that all shakes out. But further up, Jordan's kind of dropped off Riera now. He's a full 2 seconds behind, so the challenge is over for the time being, but of course it could come back later on. Renix, though, still looking in his mirrors because Hinz is right behind him, going into turn 1, and Hinsbrook's very late there, but just not close enough to really challenge through that corner, so just has to wait a little bit longer.
Oh, Mlinick's not really taking the second part of that center S well, has he? And look at Borja Milan as well, looking very close. It's battle for P8 and down to P10. Really starting to heat up as P7. Oh no, I think it's Muscat and Fuller. Don't worry, it's just traffic. Yeah, looking really close actually. As Hruljanovic comes into the pits. He's going to be overtaken by Polotzek. You know what? Oh, and Greg's off as well. And that's another front wing loss
Oh.
to the Ferradura. And
Oh.
almost going into Muscat as well. Dearie me. You know what? Fraljanovic still might come out with a point.
I think Greg's
look
retired.
at this. Sorry, look at this. Fraljanovic onto the dry compound tyre. Well,
Oh my god.
I was joking, but he reckons it's dry enough. Greg out, by the way. So we're going to watch Fraljanovic with interest. I don't think this experiment's going to work, though.
Oh wow, Milan nearly lost it there. He just completely got a tank slapper on, lapping his teammate, and nearly binned it, but just held on to it, and is actually coming under quite a lot of pressure by Francic right now.
Yeah, he's still in P10, but the Croatian wants that P10 for himself again. Really, not that much attacking intent from Francic, or not that much pace in general. It's a real shame here, and yeah, nothing doing into the center S for now. You know what? I was watching around the Ferradura to see whether Fraljanovic was going to fly straight into the wall, and he almost falls off of the Pinheiro as well. He's surviving though. Sort of. We'll keep an eye out for his lap times, I think. So
it doesn't look too bad as long as he stays on the
dry
less
line.
Yeah. But yeah, it's certainly it doesn't look too bad. He actually looks fairly quick on the cameras.
Is Brugman going faster on this lap? Right, apparently. God, look at Fraljanovic. He's desperately trying to find the dry stuff. Let's have a look at this first lap time, though, shall we? Actually, this is out the pits. Oh, Polotzek in as well. So he's going to gain a position out of it. 157.4. So it's going to be the next lap, which we're going to see, as long as he doesn't fall off the road. Polotzek's got no front wing. That is why he is in. Is he going to go onto the... He's going to stay on the wets, Polotzek, so he is not going to be risking it. Fascinating. It's just as fascinating a race, just it's a little bit quieter, mostly because we don't have as many drivers on track. That said, Thomas, Hinz, Milan, and Francic all looking pretty close still, and that's something.
Yeah, just looking at Hrojanovic's first sector, not a bad sector at all. It's pretty much as quick as any other guy on the track. I know like Lars Brugmans is faster, but that's just because of the pace that he's got. So actually, if he can keep this in the right part of the track all the way around it, which he hasn't done there, and that's really cost him, then he's got a chance. He's just got to keep it on the train tracks effectively.
And Polotzek out, unfortunately. I don't think he came out with a front wing, and so that means
Fuller.
Mlinic round. Yeah, indeed he is. In P11, and that was down after Desida Delago. He's lost a host of positions there. He's down to P12. Hopefully not lost too much in the way of damage. Mark Fuller, though, into the points then. And let's see then what this first lap time from Fraljanovic is. He didn't spin, but it wasn't the perfect lap. Let's see, a 1:27.1. To give you a comparison, 3 seconds off fastest Lars Brugman. That was with a mini spin involved. That is not bad at all.
Quicker than Fournier ahead as well, so he's at least going to be catching the guy ahead of him. But yeah, absolutely. The dry line is becoming more and more visible. It's getting wider, isn't it? So that gives him more room to play with when going into and out of these corners, which is absolutely critical for the lap times. But he doesn't look too flustered by it. He looks like he's doing a decent job, and the car looks quick as well, so it's got potential here, especially if it continues to dry bit by bit.
Yeah, it's a question of whether he's going to run out of laps. He doesn't even have half a race to really make that sort of an impact, but we'll see just how quickly that thing blows up as Borja Milan there, under a lot of pressure from Francic. Again, not much doing, and this is actually allowing Thomas Hinz to run away from this battle. He's having a great race so far, Thomas. Borja Milan holding on for dear life, though. They're having a great little scrap, these two, actually. Jan 11th, Mlinic 12th, so he didn't have to pit for damage. Fournier 13th, the aforementioned Fraljanovic in 14th, and Mark Fuller rounding out the point scorers. Those two both a lap down. Lars Brugman, your current leader, 33 seconds ahead of Argenis Riera, who himself is now about 4 seconds ahead of Jordan. Riera as well, having a really, really good race.
Yeah, he's gone into his own now, hasn't he? Easily pulled away from Jordan and doesn't look too threatened at all. I don't want to jinx him or anything. Just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and that is an absolutely excellent job is what he's doing. Oh, Milan, though, he's had a bit of a shaky final corner, and Frančić is right up the inside of him. They're going to be side by side going towards the pit entry and then onto the pit straight itself. It's a real close one here. I think it's going to be who can stay on the dry line and get a better grip going into turn 1.
Into turn 1 we go then. Oh, but look at that great braking from Milan. Oh, he's got his brakes up to temperature, and he's able to hold on despite a really shaky moment. But look at that, a poor exit out of the center S. Is that Frančić is right onto his case once again. He goes down the inside, and I wonder whether it's the wing. I'm convinced Borja Milan's got less wing because he was able to stay ahead of Frančić effortlessly there.
Yeah, he's definitely just doing what he needs to, staying on the dry line and just not getting flustered by it all with Frančić behind him, and that's definitely helping out because that means Frančić has to brake earlier and he can't get the same amount of speed through the corner when he's off the line. So good driving there by Milan just to defensively hold on to that position.
Is there any other battles going on? Not really. Between Milan and Frančić is the only one I can see.
And Fournier.
Linux P12. Yeah, oh yeah, that is very nice and close. Good spot. And, oh yeah, that was a bit of a shaky moment there from Fournier, and battle over. Although, look at this further up. Oh, Milan's had an off. Young Cow again. And look at this, he's not going to just lose position to Frančić, he's going to lose position to Junt. Oh, he's placed his car directly in front of Junt on the rejoin there. The Swiss driver will not be happy with that. And it looks like Milan's wings are going to save him once again into turn 1. He's just about able to hold on to P10.
Yeah, he's not looking as good as he was in race 1, is he? He's certainly struggling a little bit out there right now, and it's really not a good time for him to be struggling. He needs to be getting past the cars ahead and getting past Hinds if he wants to have any chance of moving ST up in the Constructors' Championship. But he's going to have to think more about what's going on behind him because Junt is right there, right on his tail, and any little mistake and Junt will be through.
Yeah, indeed, and I was just having a little look at those times from Hrjanovic again. 24.8. That's a second off Brugman. Although, I mean, I guess it's sort of like the true intermediate weather conditions now, isn't it? Where it is still raining, and there is a dry line, so you can make it work on the dry tyres. A 125.0 that time around from Antonio. So it seems like his gamble has somewhat paid off, but he's going to need a bit of luck for guys to fall off the road ahead of him if he's going to make any more progress.
Yeah, it was certainly, I guess it was a gamble, but he had nothing to lose because he'd already lost his front wing at the time, hadn't he? So he's at least given himself a fighting chance, and it does look like it's paying off to a certain extent, but I think he was just lost way too much time when he stuck it in the wall, unfortunately, and well, he's still got a chance, though, hasn't he? There's a good 7 laps left to go. It's gone quick, this second race, hasn't it? Oh, it's Capit's off.
Oh, he is indeed, and that's a big off as well. That was, where is that? That's down in Desida de Largo once again. So for the second time in this race, Desida de Largo captures Risto Kappa in its grasp. Down to P6. Here comes Jason Muscat. And the Maltese driver can eye up a top 6 here. I don't think he's going to get him, though. Indeed, Risto Kappa just able to get up to speed quickly enough. Muscat going a little bit deep there into turn 8 as well. So the Estonian will be looking to recapture some form here to try and bring himself back up. But it's a free position for Dino Paolini, and it's a free position for Wupke Hoekstra as well. They're up to P4 and P5 respectively.
Yeah, again, Hoekstra just on the outside of the podium finishing positions. He's only about 3 seconds behind Dennis Jordan, so in with a real chance of a podium, but he's going to have to, again, just keep it on the right stuff and just close that gap in the final few laps if he wants to have a go for third place, which he just missed out on in race 1.
Lap 19 of 24. Not too much longer to go. And it has been a little bit more of a quiet race too, but it's been a fascinating one nonetheless. The closest battle on track now, P12 and P13. Masai Mlinic and Jeffrey Fournier, a couple of tenths separating the two. And the Frenchman is flying. Remember, Mlinic with an off earlier in the race. Again, down at Desida de Largo. There's been a couple of hot spots for incidents over the 2 races, that being one of them. And I think after all the spins he had in race 1, it'd be nice for Geoffrey Fournier to actually overtake someone to feel a bit of satisfaction from the evening, especially when his teammates up there in P2. It's going to be a good points haul from Racing Team Stroton.
Yeah, it will be. Unfortunately, too little too late for them in the Constructors' Championship. They won't quite be able to hose down any of the teams ahead, but at least they'll go out with a bang at the end of the season. Considering things stay the same, of course, we don't hope anything to happen, but anything could happen in these final few laps. So I've really been surprised at how calmer it's been in this race too compared to race 1. I thought it was all going to kick off once again, but the drivers seem to be a little bit more composed here in this race, and certainly just winding down the laps for some of them, especially for Lars Brugman out there ahead by a full 37 seconds. That is truly a huge gap, and well, there's just no one to challenge him, is there?
He's on cruise control, isn't he? He's just driving for the love of it. I mean, if things are to be believed, then it looks like he's going to be off to iRacing next year, and whatever Lars does, of course, we do wish him the very best of luck, a very deserving 2016 Super Cup champion. I think if he chooses not to do Super League next year, of course, though, I think the field will miss him because he's a quiet character, but he is a fast driver and always a fair racer. And apparently the rain has almost stopped, and we're starting to see... Ben, come on, you're making me look like a fool on air. Okay, don't worry, I do that myself anyway. As let's have a little look down the field again. Yeah, everything's spread out, unfortunately. It's all a very quiet way to end the season, Sam. It seems like we've had these races the wrong way around.
Oh, Fournier's gone off though, so something's just happened on the track.
Oh.
Unfortunately for Fournier, he's lost it a little bit. Oh wow, the car's looking very loose there, isn't it? And he's going to get lapped now, so Brugman's going to pass him there, and he goes one lap down, but still in 13th place.
Yeah, he's got bucket loads of time on Prljanovic, actually. He's just put in a 23.9. That's pretty comparable. Yeah, that's 4 tenths off Brugman's fastest lap. So, if anything, Prljanovic might yet come away with the fastest lap award.
Yeah, he set he set the fastest first sector of this lap, and the car does look very quick. He's driving it quite aggressively now, but I think unfortunately for him, he keeps going off line a little bit, and that's cost him some potential time.
As we look to P8 now, Thomas Hinds versus David Francic. Francic has already disposed of Milan, and he'd quite like the Aussies P8 as well. Like I say, he's been having a really solid race, Thomas, and I'm sure he's going to pick up whatever points he can. I don't think he'll be fighting this too hard, but for David Francic, it's going to be some opportunity to battle, at least, as we head into turn 8 here, into the Pinarino for the 21st time of asking. So time is starting to go against David Francic, actually, if he wants his P8, heading down into Bico de Pato now. And, oh yeah, you can see just how close the Croatian is getting. Watch out for Borja Milan as well. He's keeping a watching brief in P10 after scoring his first podium of the season. Probably going to be his only podium of the season, of course. Into Young Cao now. And up the hill we go to go through the final 3 turns, although really I just count it as one massive corner. And it seems like Thomas Hinds has actually had a really decent exit there. David Francic not had too much of an opportunity to attack there. He's in the slipstream. You can see him closing, but once again, not able to do anything. And of course, with these cars, you only get DRS when you're on the dry tyre, so that's not helping him either.
No, it's not. And again, Hinds is just going to have to be wise here and hold on to it. Someone's had a bit of an issue, have they?
I think Milan did.
Oh, Milan's actually dropped back, hasn't he? Yes, he's dropped back to 11th, so he's lost a position there. And just lost it into turn 1 there. Just
spun in turn 1.
Yeah, went too wide and missed the dry line and went off.
Got hit by Yunt.
Did he get hit by Yunt?
He-
Oh yeah, Yunt is... right, so yeah, Yunt is through.
Oh, yeah, there was contact between the two. Luckily, no one lost the front wing.
Oh, here we go. The dry tyre's working for him. Something. It's something to go away with the fastest lap. A bit of a confidence boost to go into to go into the winter window. I'm sure Lars Brogman won't be so happy with it, but as I say, it's something for him to enjoy at least.
Yep, we'll see if Lars can respond, because I think that's the only thing Lars Brugman's got to do right now is either set fast laps or lap cars. That's only the two things he's doing. What I have noticed as well also, is Riera and Jordan, they're closing up a bit. It's down to 2.5 seconds between the 2.5 seconds. So Jordan's suddenly woken up a little bit, and Riera's just got to watch out in the final couple of laps here.
Yeah, we've only got one lap to go. Lars Brogman crosses the line, 23.9. That is 0.6 slower than his last lap. So I know that he's been involved in traffic here with Mlinick ahead, who's not really providing much help, actually, for the Dutchman behind. As Dennis Jordan's off. Dennis Jordan's off. He's lost the podium. And Wood Oakstra's through. What about Paulini? Is he going to overtake him as well? Yes, he is. Oh, Jordan. What happened? Oh, it was a simple spin. Down at Pinarino as well. What a shame.
Yeah, that's a huge shame for Jordan. He just, I guess he was just pushing too hard, and maybe should have just settled for third there, and that's cost him positions. Or was it traffic? Oh, he's come up against Milan, hasn't he? Milan had no rear wing there, and he just lost it, getting out of the way, and that's cost him.
Milan? No, Fuller.
Milan definitely.
No, it's definitely Fuller,
yeah, Fuller
because Milan's got his rear wing. Definitely. Yeah, don't worry. It's all right. But hey, coming around the final corner, then he is going to win.
Oh wow!
Both races here tonight. What a way to sign off in style. For the second time tonight, it's almost like Paul di Resta scenes actually as well. There, flashbacks from F1 races gone by. Lars Brogman wins race 2. Champion. Elite dominated. He wins by a total margin of what is surely to be larger than 45 seconds. It is going to be massive, let me tell you that. But for the second time in his Super Cup career, and I'm not going to jinx it now because he's still got a little bit of the track to go, but he has driven an excellent race nonetheless. He's made it around the final corner. Excellent. Argenis Riera, the Venezuelan's going to pick up his second podium of the year. Real signs of improvement near the end of the year. And if he chooses to come back next time, or whether he chooses to stay with Racing Team Stroton wherever they go, he has earned the respect of commentators here. Wupke Hoekstra picks up a free P3. Dino Paulini will take P4, and all because of Dennis Jordan getting involved with back marker Fuller. He'll surely be very angry. Will he beat Francis to the line? Yes, he will, by 0.05 of a second. Muscat will come home 7th, so Enterprise does indeed... cap it to the line, sorry. Cap it P6. Muscat finishes P7, so Enterprise does indeed take P5. Thomas Hinz, P8. Fantastic effort from the Aussie. Francis, P9. Yunt will round out the top 10, with Borja Milan 11th, Mlinix 12th, Fournier 13th. Praljanovic, we believe, with the fastest lap of the race, indeed a 122.5, so we got him something, P14, and your final finisher and points finisher, Mark Fuller, who was 3 laps behind. We're going to check for you, Mark.
That's over.
22.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, he's not.
And do you know where he lost it? He lost it coming onto the final straight as well, because he had no rear wing. He was going so slow. And he just got lapped right at the end.
So 2 non-classifies from Mark Fuller. So Rajanovic is the last point scorer. He retires from this race. Polotzek, Grek, Ruiz, De Vries, and Quint. That is Super Cup 2016, ladies and gentlemen.
It's over. Oh no. What are we going to do now on a Wednesday evening? I'm
going to work.
Yeah, well, that was certainly less carnage and kind of action that I thought it was going to be, but I think it just showed that everyone kind of just composed himself and just got used to the conditions a little bit more going into race 2 there. And but once again, it was a repeat of race 1 in terms of Lars Brugman was absolutely outstanding, just a class ahead of the field, and easily won. And that win takes him up to 17 wins for the season, I believe. So he's actually only 1 win off getting 50% of the race wins for the entire year. That's Yeah, that's how impressive he's been this season. It's incredible considering how tight the series is that he's managed to do that. So a really good effort by Lars Brugman, and just echoing your thoughts as well, James. Argentinos Riera, fantastic again. He just seems to be that when he gets into these positions in race 2, he's composed enough just to stay where he is and not lose the positions like people might think he will do. He certainly had no real shout for Brugman there, but to be fair, no one did. But he did the next best thing, and that was stayed in second place. So hats off to Riera there, and I hope he returns for Supercup because, like you said as well, he's certainly improved in the second half of this season and a good solid driver all round. Just to make other mentions, good to see Hoekstra get on the podium, good to see points for Paolini and Jordan as well, and Hinz of course ensuring that Fox beat ST Racing the final race there for 12th place in the championship, and they weren't actually too far away from Ice Cold Racing in the end either, but just not enough points to overhaul them. And I guess other drivers did well, of course. Fournier picking up some more points for Racing Team Schroten, and Joranovic picking up some points as well with those soft tyres. So good racing, and it's a shame that this is the final race because I have really enjoyed it. Commentating on this again this season, really good fun, and well, I can't wait for next season already. And GPVWC Day is going to be the one to look out for all the driver and team changes, which is going to be super exciting.
Indeed. That said, though, before we get to interviews, we do have one last order of business to complete before the career ladder shuts its doors for another year. Check these messages.
As I walk through frozen sands, through the flames of burning lands, my feet are torn, they're torn to strands. I will not thirst. As I cross the raging sea, waves are crashing over me. They drag me down, they drag me down, but I will not drown. They'll know my name. After the storms are passing through, they'll know my name. When they've forgotten all about you, they'll know my name. After the storms are passing through, they'll know my name. My name. And I shall rise, oh will I shall rise, again and again. I shall rise, oh will I shall rise, again and again.
Don't miss it. The Brazilian Grand Prix, Eros Mashuli versus David Feidek. It is going to be a cracking affair. But let us finish up our affairs here as well. Not many coming in for an interview. It seems like everybody is very tired. And I apologise, I've probably just dragged you in from having a lovely conversation, guys. But let us start, first of all, with podium sitter in race 2. Perhaps a bit of a surprise podium sitter from race 2, Whoopke Hoekstra, who's been renamed lovingly in the chat Whoopke Glockstra for various reasons. Whoopke, an interesting race 1 where an unfortunate bit of driving saw you lose out on the podium. In race 2, however, it seems that the karma was on your side, and an unfortunate incident for Dennis Jordan saw you pick up a podium.
Yeah, that's true. I messed up completely in the first race. I think I had the pace to be maybe even second easily, but yeah, I got to a lot of back markers, and when you're behind them, you couldn't see anything, and that really messed me up. And also the fact that some back markers decided to make me go off the line, while offline it was so wet that you can barely keep the car straight. That didn't help. So yeah, because of that I got a bit frustrated, and then you start making mistake in rain, especially as you need to take it easy. But yeah, race 2 I had a bit of a bad start because I hit Risto. It was my own fault. I think I was a bit too eager to get past after he made a little mistake. So I got into the wall. Luckily, didn't lose my front wing, and yeah, from then on, yeah, finally the karma got on my side, as you said, and managed to pick up the podium. Yeah, and I feel really bad for Dennis because it was clearly his. I wasn't able to make it past him.
It must be said, though, especially as a driver who's competed in the majority of the year, a driver who's competed at GPVWC for many years. Was race 1 one of the toughest races you ever competed in?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I was continuously looking on the lap counter, like, yeah, am I finally finish it? But no, I never was, and it never seemed to end. And yeah, then we were just halfway through the race, and I thought, like, I could have done 2 races by now if it was dry.
Like a really horrifying Christmas family meeting, that sounds like. Never ending. Well, anyway, you did get some good results at the end of it, Whoopke. You've had an excellent year all round, and we certainly hope to see you next year.
Yeah, you will.
Oh, okay. There's a bit of intent there, wasn't there? Goodness me. And since we don't have so many people eager to come to for podium interviews, they're probably very tired. We have with us Mr. Thomas Hinds, who had himself a qualifying of all qualifyings. You Hulkenberged it almost, getting second on the grid overall.
Yeah, I didn't even know how that happened. To be honest. I just put the lap together, and yeah, it was, it was getting dry, and I tried the wets, I think, the run before that, and they weren't quite working. I was looking at the dry line going, well, this is getting close to dry, so it's getting that crossover point, so I thought, what, let's just pop them on and give it a go. Went out and yeah, just strung it together a lap. It felt beautiful. Yeah, I couldn't really have gone much faster. So yeah, when I saw myself up on the top, I was like, "Fool!" So, yeah. I think the big bit for me was when I was doing that lap, I had obviously the virtual sectors up, and when I saw that virtual sector, the middle sector, it went green. I was like, "Ooh boy!" So yeah, no, it was really good. Shame the actual race didn't go so well, but
yeah, I was about to say, yeah. then lap 1 happened, as it always seems to for you. But ignoring that first race, of which you did finish it, which I think is a commendment in itself. Race 2 was pretty good for yourself. You had some good battles with a lot of drivers who usually are fighting further up in the top 10. So you really held your mettle today, actually.
Yeah, thanks, James. Yeah, race 1 to Miles quickly. I think. Thinking back, I think that was just the line. It was just that sort of drier line. Like even in the wet conditions like that, it was noticeable. I think because I was just offline trying to go around the outside of, I think it was Risto or someone. I literally was turning the car and it just would not turn. It was just going to the wall. It was like there was a magnet. It was going, I'm going there. No matter what you do, I'm going to the wall. So this is one of those things. So I don't think there's much that could have been done. And I struggled a bit in that first race, just getting used to for wet conditions. But yeah, by the end of race 1, I sort of adjusted, and then yeah, race 2, yeah, just sort of got used to it, and yeah, just kept clear, pace seemed decent, and yeah, a few incidents helped out. Had a few close calls as well with Sven, I think. Oh no, it was David and was it Franchix? I see. Yeah, both spinning in front of me. It was a bit scary, but yeah, managed to keep clean and yeah, got an 8th out of it, which was really really happy. I think it's a new best result Super Cup for me. So yeah, pretty stoked with that. So yeah,
it's fantastic to hear. Well, I think a lot of people are delighted to hear you so positive after a Super Cup evening, to be honest. So go and enjoy a beer or a sleep or whatever you fancy doing now, Tom. You massively deserve it. And as for suggestions as to... Oh, you're welcome, don't worry. And as for suggestions as to how Super Cup can be better next year, Chris says more rain, which I think we can all agree with after this evening. So that's it from us. It has been a long season. It has also been a pleasure. You've had 2 lead commentators. You've had a DC cameraman. You've had Sam. He's done stuff.
Have I?
I'm kidding. He's been awesome.
I don't think I really did anything, to be honest.
You have. You've kept us company, Sam, and you've given us some very good pointers and facts throughout the season. And thank you all so much for joining us, audience. Obviously, these things don't happen without people watching, as well as the people getting involved here behind the scenes. So thank you so much for spending your time watching, catching up with the streams, and we certainly hope that we can bring Super Cup back in 2017 bigger and better than ever, even though the task seems harder every single year. So, for the final time of asking, I would like to thank Mr. Ben Willis for being our cameraman for this year, absolute star. Mr. Sam Jones for being a wonderful co-commentator for yet another year. I'd like to say a big thank you, of course, to Kasper Kolodziejczyk, who filled in for me for a few races. Wonderful guy. Glad to see him getting some screen time. I've been James Kirk, and for the year, it is a very warm goodbye.